guys.
misfits. Or praise someone up there. You never know which one. I don't know how they can tell which one's the god and which one's the devil. But spoilers, welcome misfits to our Skeptic Bible Study episode, Balaam's Ass. That's right, we're talking the really deep subjects. It wouldn't be something positively even sillier than you think. It couldn't possibly. In this episode, we meet Balaam, who is told by God not to curse the Israelites, to follow some merry men, and a good old-fashioned conversation with a donkey. That's right, James. Couldn't leave you hanging.
Just when you thought talking snakes was enough, God has something else in store for you. You're talking snakes. You like that one. You like that one, don't you?
We went to a certain level with snakes. We decided to go the next level with mammals. Talking mammals, ladies and gentlemen.
It's also God's way of trolling us because, come on, it's an ass, a talking ass. So God is just like, I'm gonna make an ass talk. Yeah.
And if you think about it, that kind of makes Shrek biblical canon. If you think about it.
I think anything with Mike Myers' voice or even just him in general should probably be canon, yeah. The whole Austin Powers set, yeah, it's up there.
Basically inspired by God.
Wayne's World is like the prequel.
Wayne's World, Wayne's. Yeah. So why won't you come join James W. and A.B. Newman as we jump into
That's right,
the
Dave
book
Gar, we're on time.
Of Numbers. Hey, just realized it was the Bible study. As we jump into the book of Numbers. Let's try that one more time. Much, much better. I want to thank everyone out there for joining us on the intertubes. If you're feeling fancy, don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe. Woo! And then set that bell icon because that is how you can get reminders to join our live streams. We'll do it live.
All the cool guys are. All the cool people are on our notifications.
You mean they're very cold? No?
Ian,
no, the sunglasses. Okay,
Inquisitor, gotcha. Dan, Doc Fearsome, Bubblegum Gun. Hey, guys.
What is up, guys? But with that, we're going to have to hand it over to Gilbert so he can explain what we're about to read.
Thanks, Neff.
Some of you may be new to this abomination of a study. These schmucks begin by reading each episode's chapters along with the annotations on the side for funsies. The hosts are a tiny bit special, so don't mind if they butcher or replace everybody's name with something completely horrible or stupid. However, the gibberish that spews forth from their face holes will still be an attempt at reading this book from cover to cover, which I'm sure has tons of wisdom or an insight on whether we can or cannot put things up our butt. If you have time to waste screaming internet memes at random strangers, then join the Discord. Or scream at them personally at your YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch streams. Finally, don't forget to support these idiots doing more lame shenanigans at Amy Newman's Patreon page. All right, schmucks, back to you.
Thanks, asshole.
Woo-hoo. Why, thank you
Thank you,
very
Gilbert.
much. Friggin', it happens to be the two schmucks that you see before you can be found at our Patreon page at patreon.com/Amy Newman, which helps us make even more fun content. Oh, yeah, baby. Like this Patreon-sponsored housekeeping. I can hear Sam Harris's head in the back of mine, including awesome Patreons, such as...
That's going to be a hard no, Dan. We figure out the answer for that, and it's no. But yeah,
it's no. It's going to be a hard no. That's okay. We're sending love. Yeah. What is up, Materialist Dan? But also sending love, K.O. Champ.
K.O. Champ. And Dave Gar. Hey, Dave Gar, with Gilbert's famous internet memes.
Look, sometimes you need the internet memes. I feel like I
send them away.
Chain smoked 10 packs. But also, Oz from the Atheist Roundtable and the Atheist Network Group, Tang Gang Yo. In fact, are you looking for a better non-believer community? Are you looking to have better conversations?
No.
A little bit?
No.
Damn it. Well, I am James. I am looking for a wonderful non-believer community that just does good, even though we're not being spied on by the omniscient creator of the universe 24/7, 365. Funny how that works. Anyway, if you're an ally
Shriners
or a non-believer, come on down to better. Tart.live, Tang.live, both websites.
It'll be in April or May, I think. Yeah, you got a little bit of time to get your tickets.
Yes, because we are actually Team Science, and so it's kind of like,
Team Tang.
Maybe we shouldn't do a super spreader event, and so you just push it back. You make the event even better, and you don't kill people because we, as skeptics, know how viruses work.
Speaking of that, Tang was just did an episode on faith healers today. Pasta Mike did a little video on that. They were going over that. Yeah, faith healing.
How'd it go? Did they get won over? Are they all everyone on Tang is faith healers now? I assume that's how that worked.
I mean, Oz is probably on his way to a hospital now. He's probably just going to empty the place out. You know,
exactly. That's what
go
you would
room
do.
by room, ask Jesus to heal him, and of course Jesus say, "Sure, why not? It's not going to hurt me in any way, right? I mean, yeah, I can heal them all. It's no cost to me. It doesn't hurt me in any way. Why would you not? I mean, he is a God of love, right, ain't he? He is all loving.
Right here, James. This is where they tell us that God loves us. Right? He's full of love, made of love. God is love. So God's a chemical? Well,
in fact, Amy, his love is so pure that you cannot even comprehend how much he loves you, Amy. Because your idea and concept of love is so inferior to his own that you can just only get a tiny taste of God's love, how much he really loves you.
It all makes sense, James. If you just turn off your best friend, Mr. Brain. Once you turn this guy off, it just all starts to make sense. You don't have to do gymnastics anymore. So tiring. Oh my God, it's the good slavery.
Things making sense, that is just so overrated. I mean, why would you need things to make sense when you could just have what we call faith? where it doesn't have to make sense. You just believe it anyway, because why not? You like it, it feels good. Just believe it.
Just believe.
Just believe it.
I sometimes have my wonderful pasta behind me touched
Mike?
by his noodly appendage. Well, him too. But I was talking
touched by Pasta
our
Mike's
Lord and
noodly
Savior.
appendage, yeah. Okay.
Pastafarianism. Oh, Penelope's being so cute.
Yeah, it better be a little bit higher proof than that, Dave Gar.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're out there on the interwebs relaxing with your drink or a little smoke of choice. We just want you to calm down and enjoy all the wisdom that I'm sure is about to be filled from the Bible. I mean, why else would it be Holy Scripture inspired by a God, right?
In this broadcast, Amy is going to be God's mouthpiece. So she is reading God's word. So God is talking out of Amy's lips. So you're going to hear Amy.
Use me, God.
Her voice will be hers, but the speaker is God.
That's right. I like to think of myself as just a mouthpiece for Daddy, the daddy figure in the sky.
The Sky Daddy, right. Yeah.
The Sky Daddy. But that would be a straw man, James. You know how ridiculous it would be for God to come down in like a cloud form and for him to basically have everyone call him Father?
What do you think he's gonna? You think he's gonna come down and have a wrestling match with somebody? You think he's gonna come down and just talk to a bunch of geriatric elders of the congregation of Israel Shemishmael?
It would be silly. No, be totally overrated.
That would be almost as silly as having a conversation with a donkey or a fig tree, as Jesus did in the book of Mark.
There's a lot of fruit action going on, and normally that's reserved for my Pornhub tabs. But yes, exactly.
The fist fruits, yeah.
The fist fruit. Oh, there was a lot of fist fruits.
You say fist fruits, and Gizmo shows up.
Hi, Gizmo. This is a very cat-friendly.
You say fist fruits, and Gizmo decides to come over. Yeah.
Hi, Gizmo. Once again, not a hierarchy.
Loves carnivora.
I love carnivora. All animals are equal. But did you see a cat go to the moon? That's always how it goes. Did I see you go to the moon, Johnny? No? Then shut up. All right. Sending love. I just really just
hey, Brian.
The whole looking down on other animals thing, which the monotheistic, the Abrahamic, I was going to say monotheistic, but the Abrahamic religion strains seem to spend, because you don't find a lot of Hindus that are like, screw animals, screw other animals. Whew. Anyway, sending love to Ian Davenport.
Ian.
As we level up in our empirical statements, and we're just like, can we get some evidence? Which we're going to get to in a second.
Bubblegum gun. No. Don't even go there, Bubble.
What's up, Bubblegum Gun? Sending love to everyone out there in the internet sphere, including a grumpy old
Grumpy.
who he just sits there and we listen to these creationist statements along with the other atheists or non-believers or people who kind of have a thing for evidence. Don't kink shame. It just kind of makes us go.
Those are the nice things they say about him.
I know, exactly. It is crazy that 40% of this country walks around like, seriously, I hate to say the fairy tale word because they hate that. But 6,000 to 10,000 years is
tell it like it is.
Let him
really
hate it. Let him hate it. Ridiculous. It has nothing to do with a God. It doesn't.
We've known that. Yeah. We've known that for longer than like 200 years, 300 years. That it couldn't be that young. That it has to be much older.
And our enemies would also be holding this. it goes back to the flat Earth thing. I hate to say it goes back to the
similar.
flat Earth thing, which is
Creationism and flat eartherism are very similar.
Are all these other countries?
Yeah.
Though I will say there are some countries. If you go before I go too far, there are some countries that'll probably majority creationists that'll say, "Oh no, definitely, definitely." That's what our scientists say.
Yeah.
They normally
maybe a couple Middle Eastern countries
with democracy. Yo, it's our fault. Like, we blame the Middle East right now, but it's totally our fault. It's the Desert Trilogy. They're following the Christians and the Jews. They're like, "Mommy, Daddy, we're just trying to make you proud. Don't we make you proud? We're following the book to a key." And it's like, yeah, but there's like some scary shit in the book. So maybe you should ignore those passages and just...
That's for just the common folk. I bet if you walked into a university in Tehran and you asked the geology department there if the Earth is 6,000 or 10,000 years old, and they'd probably laugh at you like, no. That's just what we tell the plebes.
The normies? Yeah, the plebes, exactly. Oh,
we don't want to make it too complicated for them, but no, it's not that old.
I don't think the head princes and all this, there's like thousands, but the more rich princes and all this, they have to have had decent education, right? They know
the princes who get their alcohol delivered to them. They're like cognac and fine spirits, because Allah would be totally so pissed off at them if he caught them like that.
Loves it. A piece of me loves that they are just... It's like the worst kept secret is that all these guys go out and they drink and they have a good time and they do American, or not American,
right?
That's really a bullshit thing. Western, or if I even want to shave off
normal,
Western, because really what it is secular. Even because it used to be that we were filled with what were the original, not our founding fathers, but the Puritans and all this shit. Yeah. And we have been washing that slowly away from us. And now just you have countries in the Middle East, you have countries in Africa, Latin America, and baby, 40% of this country. So we got a lot of work in the non-believer community all over the world, but we're pumping. And we got the internet.
The labor of love. Amy is pumping away.
That's right, baby. That we do it better. Also, shake weights. Lots of shake weights. Or if you want to keep all of the pots turning, like you ever have those pot competitions and you got to keep them spinning? It's hard.
No.
But it's worth it. Anyway.
You're good at it.
James, when you're good at something, you never work a day in your life. But sending love to all of the female skeptics of the community, or more, as we kind of look at the Bible and we're like, oh, really? It's amazing that you guys didn't have a lot of fans with women. You're saying that they're kind of shallow? Oh, wow. You kind of like put them as... James, silly. You just got to ignore these passages, just like with it's the good slavery, and you'll be fine. You'll be perfectly fine. And
good slavery, good misogyny, good good murder, good genocide. Good murder. The flood was it was a genocide, yes, but it was a good genocide.
James, happy genocides do not get enough press. Okay?
Yeah. Sodom and Gomorrah. It was a good destruction, nuking.
They had it coming.
They had it coming. They did yucky things with their peepees, and God didn't like it. He had to kill them all.
Yeah. Mostly God to blame. Yeah, I guess they did things with their.
They did yucky things. Yeah.
I'm starting to question that. I feel like that is a 1,000-year-old interpretation of that, but it really they were just somehow terrible people, and I don't know.
It's pretty clear
Maybe
from the
it's
text
just,
that's what they mean. I don't
but
think the events
a
ever
whole
happened.
town of gay, like
It
look,
wasn't a real event. It was just
I've
something
been
that
to
was
New
made
Hope,
up.
and it's fantastic. Just like I'm sure San Francisco is. I'm just trying
Key
to
West
imagine.
down here.
Exactly. Good times, but no. But sending love to
Diana Smith,
Diana
yes. Thank you, Diana.
Smith. Because the Bible clearly teaches women well. No, really. No, it's a feminist text.
I imagine Pat will discuss a lot of that in his upcoming book
Woo-hoo.
about the subjugation of women in early Christianity.
Well, fantastic that you bring that up.
Yep.
Because we have Pat Lullinger to thank. Woohoo! Sending so much love, Pat. And that's right. I was just talking with Pat, and we've been trying to get a 2v2 set up. We talked with a few different theists, but none of them seem to be flood crazy. So I don't know any theists in the chat. If you are like, listen, it's not just that floods occur, because that would be too...
It's not a local flood.
Boring? I don't know. You're telling me that floods happen? Really? In real life? Wow. But a global flood, as in like everywhere. It was raining everywhere. A planet of rain. Like a sci-fi movie come to life.
Waterworld.
Waterworld. I'm going to need some evidence for that. I'm going to need something a little bit bigger. No, come on the channel. That's what she said. Or he. We like to be.
We got Oz in the house.
Woohoo! Tang gang.
Tang gang, Oz in the house.
But yeah, we're just looking for some evidence for a flood. Oz is asking for some evidence that Jesus even existed, which is so funny to me. There are entire apologetics. Presuppositionalism just bases itself on you can't even go into 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee. Logic just breaks down if you don't have the old J-Man coming back from the dead and the body coincidentally disappearing. That's my favorite part of that whole story. That's where my why prophets comes in. Oh yeah, the body just... Where was it? Oh, was it here? Was it burned? Yeah, it wasn't really burned. It was not like ashes. Oh, okay. Did someone steal the body? Why would someone steal?
Yeah.
You're being so silly.
But Amy, the Bible says hundreds of people witnessed him. Are you going to say that all those hundreds of people were wrong? I mean, we don't have any other accounts. It just tells us in the Bible that many people saw him, but...
And so there you go, James. It has to be. It can't be that it was burned or someone stolen. That would just be, as the theme goes, boring. Oh my goddess. No, it has to be somehow that the body ascended to heaven. Does that make sense to anyone? That makes sense to no one. I'm sorry. But why does he get to go to heaven in that moment? And no one else does.
The question was, though, when he did go to heaven, was he wearing a crotchless Speedo?
I don't know. I guess I would like to know.
Did he have the Newman uniform? The Newman...
the Newman uniform. Approved.
Yeah.
Oh my! Well, I'm just saying, you're not a Marvel superhero until you get a shirtless shot. I'm just saying. I'm not complaining either. I would love to get... Wouldn't that be so funny if I could imagine Jesus being a superhero? He has the powers. They all do. I call God supervillain because in the Old Testament, he really does have powers, and he makes speeches and requests that are like...
Jesus is like a Bronze Age Superman.
Yeah, well, he is a healer. Like, I could easily classify what he does. You could put him in an MMO. I've thought about it. I want to also make a game. If I could also make a game, it would be very simply, you got your mage, you got your warrior, you got your healer, all built in. You got Muhammad. He's just going to be up there taking the damage. I can give him a shield and shit. He'll be fine.
Muhammad.
You got Moses out there in the back just casting spells, trying to do your damage. And then Jesus, he's trying to dodge what he can, but really he's just sending healing spells. He's healing. He's making lunch out of a single fish for the entire party.
He killed that fig tree, remember?
And James, if you need to resurrect, you need a life up, who are you going to go to? The Big J-Man. Perfect party structure. It's the Desert Trilogy. I love it. Coming soon, ladies and gentlemen, to hopefully GameStop. Probably. Exactly. But thank you so much, Pat.
Thanks, Pat. And we'll be back maybe later this week with Pat. Hopefully we'll get that schedule worked out.
We are setting up Pat with possibly an extra surprise, 2 scoops of guest hosts. Pat and a friend. It may be a Socratic
gangbang, yeah. Yep.
Oh,
tell Jen. Tell the Church of Entropy.
I can't. I heart Jen. I just fucking heart that word. That and global.
I didn't see if she was doing her weekly stream tonight. I usually see it on Sunday, but it didn't pop up on my feed.
That's right. She has her weekly stream trying to remember the week report with Dovid, sending love to
weekend
Dovid,
review, yeah.
The weekend review, and that just reminds me of the weather report.
Speed's weather
with
report, yeah.
Fantastic Speed of Sound Answers in Atheism. Everyone go check his channel out. We're trying to really connect as much as we can the atheist community. You could even say we're trying to normalize atheism.
You could say that.
You could say. Some people are saying. But yes, thank you so very much, Pat. And we're asking and getting all the skeptics together as we just look for a little bit of empirical evidence, because the typical skeptic answer, and a good one to go to, is that we don't know what would make us believe in a God, and that God should know if he has any of those omni properties. Like, holy moly, what a...
But some evidence would be a good start. It'd be a good starting place.
A little bit of evidence.
Yeah.
But James, if he stepped right in front of your face and was like, I am God, and he had a 15-foot whale,
and he inserted it inside of you, you would not believe that either.
You would still not believe him.
Right.
Still wouldn't.
He would impale you with that thing, Amy.
Oh my. Is that a threat or a promise? Anyway, sending love to not just Dale. And sending love
to
God. But also, we're looking at this round,
speak of the devil, huh?
Looks thick earth. That's right. Sending love to Dave Gar and
Dave Gar.
And I don't know. Maybe it's just my fish eye eyes.
Well, you just did that. You did that flat Earth debate the other day. How did that go?
I did. It was a good
debate.
That's
part of it.
You know, it got a little spicy at some points, but for the most part, it was pretty good back and forth. I'm heavily biased, you know. I am what they call the flurfers, and they hate calling that. Call me a globetard, which is what I am. Everyone should always admit what they are, okay?
You're
slang.
Yeah.
You just gotta roll. Always
You're stuck on that round Earth thing, Amy. You're stuck on that round Earth thing.
The flurf and the turf thing. It always
Surf
makes me laugh when majorities get insulted by slang. That is the funniest. Well, I guess flurfs aren't majorities, and I guess turfs aren't majorities anymore either. But it just does make it.
Emeretta loves those turfs.
You gotta. Oh my. Oh man. Amaretto! And the turfs are nasty in UK. I found this out the hard way. I don't know if it's because of that whole JK Rowling shit. And I just want you all to know that if you do not like, if you don't like who I am because of the whole Tyrannosaurus Rex thing, that's okay. That is actually okay. Pronoun me whatever the hell you want. But after you pronoun me, after you pick that label and everything, you know, it's funny. A lot of you tell me that there's an all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful creator of the universe out there. And if we just put my genitals away for just like a tiny second, I actually want, to talk about the guy watching us 24/7.
Excuse me, sir. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the girl dick, sir. Sir. No.
Sir.
I'm not going to talk about that until we discuss your genitals. And I want to see a picture of them so I know what I'm working with here, Mr. Batman. I'm Mr. Batman. I destroy false worldviews, and I also destroy little Peters. I eat them up for breakfast.
Oh my! Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Can't get enough of them.
Can't get enough of them. Well, really, when I talk with those people, that's all they can talk about. If I could get them onto theology, if I could get them onto philosophy, if I could get them onto what's for dinner, I'd be lucky. But as you
get them off of Grindr and Pornhub.
That is the James. Now you're thinking that is the real goal. But I just want to say this, and I guess someone transgender can never hate on someone changing their name to feel like who they are. But if you are a grown adult apologist and your name is Mr. Batman and you're not getting paid, well, millions of dollars to hopefully cut off the Mr. Batman. I'm trying to imagine a movie now, like a Nolan movie, where it's like, we finally found him. Who did you get? Mr. Batman.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Not Mr. Batman.
Like a... Moonlight? You okay, Moonlight?
Hi. Jazz hands. Speaking of bands. But yes. But not only that...
Like a Mr. Batman version of James Bond.
Boom, ba boom, boom, boom.
Blasts do suck.
But we are also sending love. And I will say, before I send love and we move on, they're always welcome. I wish I could get people like Mr. Batman on here. I wish I could get here praise. Come on the channel. That's what she said. As long as you clean up.
Praise. I saw praise on one of Smokey's streams earlier.
Oh my.
Yeah. With Jamie, I guess they're still fighting, Smokey and Jamie.
Oh, they're going back and forth. The schisming continues. It only happens, folks.
It was that Ken Hovind debate with Smokey that just set it all off. That's what that brought everything to a head.
Do they have differences on Ken Hovind? That's actually kind of funny.
Well, because Smokey is an old earther, so.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
okay, so you can't have
all
those little differences, James, or else it all goes down.
Smokey got roughed up a little bit in that debate with Ken Hovind, so he kind of felt like he needed to lash out after that one.
And we also want to send love to the lead hyena of the pack. Scott Duke! Woo-hoo!
Scott Duke.
Sending love to Scott.
Said he got that name because John Maddox said the atheists on Speed's channel were like cackling hyenas.
Well, it's a common set about us that atheists are like herding cats. Da, da, da. So sending love to Scott Duke. And once again, animals, other animals, not below us. They are right up here. It is not that we are putting them below us. Look, it's a Penelope. Penelope is like, I want some
another
kitty. Another kitty. 2 scoops of kitty. And all right. Send in love. We love all cats, including Scott Duke. who is on the cat kind, or the cat side. I shouldn't use kind because all the creationists are like, kind. No.
Yeah, don't even go there,
Carnivora
Amy.
is split into two branches, animals that resemble cats and animals that resemble dogs. Just two different branches, all under Carnivora. And speaking of our Skeptic Bible Study, which we
We're gonna
are
need that
about
one
to
tonight.
break into, that's right, baby. We are sending love to Regos. That's right, because the Bible sometimes gets a little thespian. It'd be boring if it was just like, I'm gonna kill you, dude. You just stabbed me. It has to be, thou shalt die and burn at thy hand. No, it has to be. You gotta go extra.
What? Are you hungry? You want some quail to eat? You want some quail? Go ahead, eat the fucking quail.
Yo. That was horror movie material. Once again, it's another notch in like the fedora thing.
Eat the fucking quail, Newman.
Go
ahead. Quail. Eat it till you explode.
Like that, wouldn't you? Like that. And all right. Last, but certainly not least, Rachel.
I think it's a lot of use over there.
Woohoo! And hey, this channel is a big supporter of DNS, but unless it's two consenting adults, you better not come on here and tell us that the Bible, I mean, you can tell us that the Bible doesn't support slavery, but you better have a pretty good apologetic for why our eyes are like, but it says that you can own them. It says the children, and you make the wife. And
no, you see, one, it's not slavery, and two, it's also the good slavery. So it's the good version of what it's not, because it's not slavery, but it's also the good kind of slavery. See,
James, now you're using not your brain. See, that's what you got to do. Just turn it off.
Up is down. Everything, yeah.
It feels good. And all right. During our Skeptic Bible Studies, we try to greet everyone on screen. Hi, interwebs.
Hey,
however,
guys.
if you want your specific thoughts or one-liners read out loud, feel free to tag James or myself in chat at Amy Newman. After the chapter, we will be switching into our open mic. And if this is your first time to the series, you may be asking, what version of the Bible are you even going to read? Why, what a fantastic question. There is. That brings us to our
categories, you say?
Before we begin, I'm going to start by going over the specific Bible we'll be reading, along with some helpful category marks. Categories, you say? Why, yes, I do. You see, we're going to be reading from the Skeptic's Annotated Bible, an entire King James Bible lovingly fawned over by a skeptic who decided he would add his own notations. These are little flagpoles of sanity put in use to remind us that, hey, maybe slavery is evil, including categories like absurdity, injustice, and cruelty, but also a good amount of intolerance, contradictions, and conflicts with science or history. That doesn't mean it's not packed full of misogyny, false prophecy, and some questionable biblical family values. Now, we won't skip the good parts that the Bible has, only that these passages seem far fewer in number than any priest or pastor seems to suggest. So without further ado, won't you come join the Skeptic crew?
Woo-hoo!
Speaking of pastors, I think we're going to be hearing from one of our favorite pastors soon.
Oh my!
One of Amy's favorite pastors, but one of the ones that just touches her heart.
Is that what that touches? That's what we're calling it now?
he hasn't been in your hot seat in a little while, but I think he's well earned a new place.
Woohoo! That's right, baby. We are about to do Pastor Bob. He is on deck. It's going to be a hot threesome sermon. I was trying to make that one word. It's calling it like it is. Just saying, Theus, you might have to give us evidence. You got to take that gauntlet going down. And all right, everybody, with that, welcome to our Skeptic Bible Study. Need that good dose of Bible. On the previous episode, Aaron's death, a fiery serpent, and the edge of a sword. Oh my, that escalated quickly. Aaron finally got to stop taking orders from God. That same God summoned a fiery serpent. Oh my God, it's Snake Boy. He came back. And the Israelites took many cities by the sword. Oh, really? It's amazing. It's like God could do it, but they decided to have people stab others. Yeah. No, he's all knowing and all smart and all this other stuff. You can tell by the way he had his chosen people stab others. Yeah, no, makes total sense. Anyway, in this episode, Balaam's ass. Oh my. We meet Balaam. Hi, Balaam, who is told by God not to curse the Israelites. Naughty boy. To follow some merry men. Oh my. And a good old-fashioned conversation with a donkey. Because why not? Shrek 2.0, baby. So with that, how are you tonight, James? And are you ready for us to swing into numbers?
Well, if you remember from the preacher, when asked about the talking snake in Genesis, if that was literal, and he said absolutely, totally literal. And then he said that as evidence for the talking snake that, well, God also made a donkey talk. So if he can make a donkey talk, why can't he make a snake talk?
That's right. You should be able to make all of the animals talk and speak English or Latin. I think it would look a little demonic right now if a pig started speaking Latin and not just pig Latin, but it would be cool as hell. I wouldn't consider it demonic, so bring on the talking animals. Let's get some evidence here.
Talking
pigs. But all
right,
ladies and gentlemen, we are in the book of Numbers, chapter 22. Woo, moving, almost done the book of Numbers.
Almost through with Numbers, done. Yeah.
And it's a nice appetizer and one that I think we're going to be snacking on quite a lot tonight. It's laughter, because when you think of the Bible, you think of humor. Isn't that what you think of, James? Comedy comes right to your mind when you think of the Bible?
That's what's been happening, yeah.
Yeah, it really is a go-to. Especially when you drown everyone. It just kind of has this...
Bronze Age joke book.
Brian Stevens says, take on the persona Miss Joker and debate Mr. Batman.
Oh, that would be funny.
Oh, my
I like
lordy.
how he thinks.
I will say, I have been called the Joker, I think, by Sal. He's like, I gave him total Joker vibes, which that is like an honor. I think it's just because I told him that I would most definitely take Satan's side.
Oh, yeah.
When choosing between, like, if I finally knew that Yahweh was real, and it's like you wouldn't just automatically submit. This isn't what he was saying, but many theists go, you wouldn't just bow your knees and start worshiping at the glory hole. Why? That's no, John I would not. I say, well,
even if you knew he was real, and you still would worship him, so why would he waste time proving his existence to you? I mean, you're still not going to worship him, right?
Yeah, no, that's not how that works. You need to personal relationship. Let's first with meeting, That's always a good one. And then second, I'm really big after the existing part. Like once we get past the existing part, and I feel like we can really have something.
What else would you want to know, though? I mean,
holy moly, worship. I feel like you're gonna have to buy me a dinner. I don't know. We're gonna have to go a little bit further. Make those
Buy you a
stars in the
slave?
sky. They always are like, well, if you were to just, yeah, that sounds nice. Once again, folks, only the consenting version that you make a good moan at the very end. Anyway, sending love to X Music. God equals the square root of -1. Heat Shield, Doorknob Heb, everybody in chat as we are moving along into what is clearly going to be a lot of wisdom in our chapter tonight. Barack. We'll just go with Barack. Barack Obama sends for Blam. Blam? Kind of blam? Blam.
Bam Bam from the
Bam
Flintstones.
Bam. Okay. Barack sends for Bam Bam. And the children of Ishmael Shmishmael set forward. And they pitched really hard tents. Oh my. In the plains of Moab, which sounds kind of like a Magic the Gathering card. On his side of Jordan sneakers by the Jericho.
Oh, by the Jericho. Okay.
By the Jericho. It's my favorite part.
By...
And Moab was really sore afterward. Oh, no. He was sore afraid of the people.
Amy, you went too hard on it.
I know how it is. Went too hard. I'll go slower next time. Because they were many. There were like at least 5. And Moab, he was super distressed.
5 might not be much for Amy, but for him.
Listen, sometimes you need to keep all of those plates running. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But he was distressed because of the children of Ishmael Shmishmael corn. Got to look out for those. And Moab sauce said onto the Elder Scrolls of Midian, which sounds like a Final Fantasy village. Now shall this company lick up slowly, carefully, all over, all that are round about us. Oh man, I hate roundabouts. As the ox. All of them. Not half. All of them. Hopefully you have enough ox when you're playing Oregon Trail. And lick up the grass of the field. And Barak, the son of Zippo's lighters, was queen of the I just need a Moabites at the time. All right. What have we been talking about? The Israelites pitched their tents in the plains of Moab. Balak, the king of Moab, saw what the Israelites did. They went camping. It's like Cub Scouts. Did to the Amorites, and he feared that they do the same to him and his people. He said to the elders of Midian, the Israelites will lick up everything around us. That still sounds kinky, even when I'm not making fun of it. As the ox licks up the grass. I know, Gizmo. I agree. That's right,
He's
Jordan.
getting a lot of wisdom out of this.
I know, there's so much wisdom. Sometimes you just need a help with your zipper and your Zippo lighter. You need to ask a friend. Or
a Catholic priest.
Keep them away from the Cub Scouts. Let's just put a separation right there. Oh man, they're never gonna live that down. Nor should they, because they were kind of passing that around. I think, as Bill Burr said,
they earned it. They earned it.
They earned it. Oh, religion. He sent messengers. Wow, was it like an email? Is this like This was like a pre-text message. He said you have to send, angels or demons or all this shit. He sent messengers.
Tom Hanks
got
movie.
20 text messengers. Exactly. He saw Tom Hanks. Therefore, on to Litbom, the son of that reminds me of like pig's head beef, Beor, something like that. Beor to Pithor, which is by the river, beautiful place of the land, of the children of his people, to call him, saying, behold. Oh, cool. What is behold? There is a people come.
There's a peepee. Oh.
Oh, man. There's a people. Where did they come? Did you clean afterwards? At least somebody's getting happy.
All over your sheets, Amy.
Again with the sheets. Aim for my flag. Those get washed. There is people come out from New York. Behold, and
running away
remember,
from
ladies
Andrew
and
Cuomo.
gentlemen. Yeah. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't matter if it's New York, New Zealand, or Egypt. Those are real places that exist in the real world.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the Bible is a history textbook. Behold, they cover their face of that round-ass earth, and they abide over against him. Oh my, tell me more, Daddy. He sent the elders to Midian. All right, he sent messengers to Balaam, saying, do-a-diddy-diddy-dum diddy-day. The Israelites are coming. At least somebody's happy.
Hey.
All right. Come
It happens,
now.
right?
On command. Exactly. Therefore, I pray thee. At least you're on your knees. Curse me, this people, that people, any people. They don't really go into specifics. The Bible logistics aren't really like a thing. For they are two mighty ducks for me. Para-adventure. I don't know why para-adventure makes us laugh. It became like...
We haven't heard that a lot lately. We haven't heard it a lot lately. It was a lot in Genesis, but...
They haven't been para-adventuring a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they're camping. Now we get to para-adventure while we're camping. I shall prevail. That's right, baby. That we may smite them. Always a good line. You're always the good guy when you're smiting people. And that I may drive them out of the land. For what I want. That he whom thou blesseth is blessed. Because that is a little bit redundantly redundant. And he whom thou curseth. James, did you know he who is cursed is cursed?
Is
Wow.
he? Is he?
Wow. Amazing. I guess so, apparently.
So he who gets fucked is fucked?
James, how did you learn such wisdom? Can't possibly have known that without the Bible.
Salt water is salty?
Water is wet. We are learning.
Wet?
It's not,
Yeah.
Honestly, even that example is too much detail. It's more like water is water. Oh, my lordy, is waterness. And the elders of Moabub, and the elders of Midian, the village of Final Fantasy, departed
Village people.
with their village people. They departed with the rewards cards, so they got bonus points of divination. Divination. They sure.
And then they sang YMCA.
Hands.
Yeah.
Baby, I can be all those village people. Oh, yeah, baby. And they came. That's what the Bible says.
The village
On
people?
to Balaam.
Or... Oh, no.
On to lip balm. Oh, man. Hey, at least, like I said, at least someone's getting happy. And they spacked all over him. Right onto the words of Barak. Woo! This is an interesting kind of fan fiction, but the theme of the night is we're not kink shaming anybody, so whatever you're into. And he said unto them, take a lodge, rest your feet here this night, and I will bring you a word game. We're going to play Scrabble again. And as the Lord Bob shall speak unto me, and the princesses of Moab Shmoab abode with lip balm. So what did we just talk about? He sent messengers to Balaam saying the Israelites are coming. Weren't they the good guys? Come and curse them, so I
Oh
can
shit,
smite
they're
them.
coming.
They're home, baby. They are too mighty for me. Wait. God, how are they too mighty? All powerful by Tuckus. If ass is the theme, you are making an ass of yourself. Okay, whatever. The elders.
He is all powerful, but he just doesn't want to use it in that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It would be like cheat codes. He wouldn't want to
It would be like
overglory
him
himself.
curing everybody of cancer at the same time, just like Zoop cure everybody at once. I mean, he could do
James,
it. It'd be no effort for
where
him. It wouldn't cost him anything, but still.
where would the fun in cancer be if God cured cancer? Right? I mean, come on.
I mean, he would be putting all those oncologists out of work. I mean,
Asshole God. What?
all the oncologists,
He's
how
a
are they
good
going to
guy.
make their BMW payments if nobody's getting sick anymore?
That's right, but it's okay because James, I find my car keys. So as long as that keeps on happening, I feel like the universe kind of evens out.
But I mean, they are kind of just going to a better place anyway. So I mean, I guess
That's
it's
right.
not bad in
Much
a way
better.
because they'll be much happier once they die, because after that they have no pain, they don't even have free will anymore. They'll just immediately drop to their knees and
Oh baby.
tell me how great I am, and that's all they're going to do forever. But they'll love it, Amy. They will love it.
Ever. 5-star Yelp review. You're not allowed to send anything else, so you get sent to hell. But, beyond that, it's a great place.
Complaint department, yeah.
Complaint department, right behind you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't mind the fire as it hits your ass. And he said unto them, oh, lodge here. All right, we're moving on. And he said, lodge here. It's going to be a bed and breakfast. Our Airbnb Yahweh style. It's going to be great. So as we're moving on, God tells Lip Balm not to curse the Ishmaelites. Oy vey. Why? Why does God need to tell anyone anything? He's so human. I would tell Becky, but we haven't been as close as we used to call each other like our chosen people, but I tried to have them killed over and over. Funny story. But now they're coming to rebel against me. Oh my God, it's so hard being a god. What? What? How is any of this happening? No, makes sense. Makes total sense.
Absolutely,
Anyway,
it makes total sense. It's the most logical thing in the world.
How could you even have logic without this book, James? How could you even know when the cashier at 7-Eleven says, that will be $5, please? How are you even going to understand what she just said if not for Jesus? How can you even have an understanding of the laws of logic?
Right.
I mean, you Slurpee, hot dog, and a pretzel, James. I don't know how you're supposed to put all that together without a man coming back from the dead.
And I mean, the deal, it's such a great deal that it would have to be divinely inspired for all that food for just that low price. I mean, it harkens back to the time when, Jesus, when Amy didn't believe that he was really crucified and rose from the dead. And he held his hand down by Amy's waist with a visible hole in it. And he said, go ahead, stick something through my hand. Go ahead, do it.
This is a true story. I would walk you guys through it, but TLDR, that's how the Shroud of Turin came to be. Look,
crotchless Speedos.
You got things to do. You got to work with what you got. Anyway, God tells Balaam not to curse the Israelites because that makes sense. And we got just another single scooping of categories here. We got to keep on laughing because if you didn't laugh, people, I mean, come on. don't you guys remember this passage being quoted in Hebrew school and Sunday school?
No.
No? Yeah, me
This
neither.
was not one of the hits.
Not one of the hits. That's funny. They don't make songs to this. Wrestlers don't come out and say
About
this
the
is what you
talking
should put on a
donkey.
cap. Yeah. Anyway,
No, this is not one of the
I
hits.
guess we got to move forward. Except for oh wow, that's weird.
Huh?
It's like a squiggle and another squiggle.
You're cutting out,
and a
Newman.
line
Newman.
through it. Oh.
Fuck us, Newman.
I know it was really garbled for a second. Yeah, I don't know how to say this, but James, there may be a contradiction in the Bible.
Don't say it, Newman.
I mean, I hate to be that chica, but yeah. I mean,
You
it's
don't
gonna
even
have to
believe
prove
that's
it to us.
possible.
I mean, we're empirical people, so I feel like it's got to be more than once. This is our first time seeing a contradiction in the Bible, and we're four books into the Bible. So it's pretty impressive that there hasn't been a single contradiction this entire time. It's amazing.
Listen, Newman, extraordinary claims require what? Extraordinary evidence. So
Extraordinary evidence. And James, I actually found evidence. Would you like to see it? It's right here. Right here, James. All the evidence we need is in this book.
A book?
They tell us it's a good book. That's right. That's right.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because, I mean, if you want to know about something, the distant past, that's the first thing you would think to do would be to pick up an old book and just believe whatever it says.
Face value. As long as you experience it in your life as vague signs that have really no bearing on,
like God talking
Jesus
in dreams to the freak.
Yeah, or someone saving them from a car crash. I honestly feel it's insulting. Like, I understand how thankful and appreciative one is to be alive after an incident that almost takes your life.
After a very traumatic thing
but
like
it just
that where you could
pisses
die.
me off. Like, the people who saved my life in just my own accident, or in any accident, if you have an accident and you pass out, the person who finds you and makes the call,
the person who sees you crash and calls 911,
the actual ambulance people, the doctors, once you get there, your loved ones, once they help warn you or help nurse you back to health and all this with modern medicine. And after all of this occurs and you're finally able to walk again after the physical therapist has helped you regain your ability, you look up at the sky and go, "Thank you, God."
Glory to God, Amy. All glory to God.
All glory.
Because without him, none of it would have happened. None of it.
It was a bunch of random chances. I can't possibly see how any other way I could have survived that. Well, look around you, baby.
It was God's plan, Amy.
Say thank you.
God put that driver there with a cell phone to call the 911 when you crashed. God forced those paramedics to go to become paramedics. Otherwise, they could have been something else. He made the doctors go to medical school. He beamed the knowledge to their head about medicine and how to treat people after accidents. So yeah, glory to God.
That's right. You can always just go a layer back. Just keep on going back.
Because if he didn't want you to be healed, like if it was his plan that you die, then nothing anybody could have done could have changed his will, his plan.
But also remember, if you're in an accident and you get nursed back to life and the other guy that was in the accident, or girl, dies, that was also part of God's plan. So
even if it's your family.
And don't keep on remembering, you can feel the gears turning, ladies and gentlemen. Good Norm Macdonald joke. I've always been a fan of steampunk It's the healthiest way for punk. Anyway, Mark Reed says, and keep on tagging me at Amy Newman,
Oh boy,
those
Mark.
paramedics could have been something useless, like a priest. I know it's funny, if you just put a nurse and a priest side by side and ask who truly does more good on earth day in and day out, I'm going to say it has to be the one not molesting children.
I was going to say the one trying to sneak into the daycare center.
Oh man, yeah,
sir,
exactly.
sir, you can't. You're not allowed to come in here. You've been trespassed here many times. Away from the kids, sir.
But no. It's definitely the secular people that are not doing anything good. And how could you possibly do charity or give anything decent in the world without being a theist? Which is why Christopher Hitchens had his ongoing bet, which is just give me an example of a decent thing that a theist could do that an atheist could not also. Give to charity, help the homeless, drive someone to work. We'll be waiting for an example, I think, for eternity. In fact, in my opinion, it's just a weight tearing people down. In the back of your head, you got that Old Testament just chilling, saying, man, I really like Frank and Fred, my neighbors. Oh, man. And they're so nice. Had a cookout, and they brought pasta, and it was amazing.
They brought pasta, Mike?
Hot pasta, that's right. He was out there.
They were chilling with pasta, Mike.
That lovely voice. And I don't know. I just don't know if I could really be friends with Fred and Frank, because it says in this, well, they tell me it's a good book, that we should really be sending stones at them. My God. It's almost like this book is weighing us down and kind of making us seem a little immoral. Wouldn't want that.
Would not want that at all.
But no, so it's not really a help. Really, if anything, it allows us to make rational decisions about human interactions. And in fact, I'll have to obligatory have to send out my olive branch to someone who may be a conservative Christian. Let me give the Pine Creek, come on over, the water is fine, to the conservative atheist. You can still talk about family. In fact, probably have better family values without that anchor. Like, you can actually love your son or daughter. Exactly. And you can actually build a family with, doesn't matter what their belief system is, who they love or color their skin, all of that kind of bullshit that, you know, all of this in-group and out-group that religion likes to do so much. Just
stuff that's really not all that important. The stuff that we shouldn't let get in the way of other things because it's dumb.
Right. So if you want some actually decent family get-togethers, maybe shed the religion this holiday season. Anyway, if you just joined us, yo, it's true. I celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah. We any holiday with food, I'll celebrate. If I think Ramadan has fasting, but if there is I will break the fast with you at the end of Ramadan. If you having a jamming party, I don't care. Sounds good to anytime that it comes to the fun holidays. I yeet all the unfun holidays because who cares? But if it's present, I like giving presents to people. So it's all good to me. You guys stole it from the pagans.
Newman.
Yo, that's right, baby. No, but it says don't decorate trees in the Bibles. You guys know that, right? Like Christians.
They know. They're aware of it.
Holy moly. Like, it's word for word. Like, it's not contextual. It says don't, like, cut down a tree and decorate it. Like, It's like, wow. All right. It is just amazing to me how something... It is like as if... It's like the people that get the cross tattoos.
Yeah, I think that was specifically a practice of pagans in that region. I guess they differentiate it between their later adaptation of the Christmas tree, but
that's right, James. You could separate it totally.
You could.
And all right, if you just joined us, we are reading. Excuse me. Oh my God! It's sponsored by Salty Sugary Water. We are reading Numbers chapter 22. Oh my. We are getting God to tell Lip Balm not to curse the Israelites. Oh my. And all right. And Goddess came.
All right, schmucks.
Schmucks. All right, schmucks. And Goddess came everywhere. Oh my. She came right on to Lip Balm. Whew, at least she's getting something. And said, "What men are these with thee?" She wanted a hot date. That's what the goddess is asking for. Pat says Christians know about it. Most ignore it because Northern Germanic pagans had to come to Christianity and refuse to give up their pagan trees. That's right. So basically what Pat's saying is it was a PR campaign. There was someone sitting there in early Christianity, and they're like, look, we got a market that we can tap into. Who's got ideas? And there was someone that was like, what if we decorated trees?
But for Jesus.
Boom. They love but for Jesus. That's right.
Yeah.
But for Jesus. And
you're doing it for Jesus, trees. And that's what makes it important. That's what makes it okay.
Click. Right. But we're going to be able to have flashy lights, and people are going to put presents, and there's going to be like this creamy kind of liquid thing that gets you semi-drunk.
No, Newman. Oh.
Okay.
Creamy Newman and her creamy liquid.
And if you're Jewish, you get 8 days of pencils. So congratulations. Win-win. No. Sending love to my parents who gave me awesome Hanukkahs. That was actually pretty good. I actually celebrated both because my parents didn't want me to feel left out. I didn't know the Christmas day, the official day, till much older, which is once again
December
a weird
25th,
thing. Because I think to Christians, a lot of Christians just take a lot of things for granted. Just like the Lord. Well, I guess they say the Lord a lot in here. I always find that language so. Lord,
it's medieval.
Oh my Lord. It's just, little.
Because like the Dukes, Lords. Same stuff.
Dun, dun, dun. That's right. Doorknob head is right. I need to FUCUS. What does that spell, James?
What is your ultimate, Newman? Focus, Newman. What is your ultimate? What is your thing that grounds all that is and all that is possible? You don't have that, Newman.
Oh, I do, James. I do. It's the giant butthole in the sky, as we all know. And all right, the goddess is coming right onto Lip Balm. And Lip Balm said unto Goddess, Barak, the son of Zippo's lighters, king of a big fat Moab, hath sent unto me, saying, what you going to say? Behold, there is people, and they come out of the land of New York.
Know?
Oh, baby, they came everywhere. Which covereth the face of all of the flat earth? No, the round earth. Round earth. Thank you. Come now.
That's Dave Gar.
On command. Yes, Dave Gar. That's right, baby. Curse me. Oh, don't be extra. Jesus Christ. Curse me, them. Peradventure. I shall be able to overcome them. You go, girl, and drive them out. And Goddess said unto Lip Balm, Thou shalt not go with them. Thou
Why
shalt
not?
not. But, Dad,
I want to go.
when I go. Ah, fine, cherry-flavored lip balm, whatever. Thou shalt not go with them. Thou shalt not curse the people. Oh, I wanted to curse the people.
But I really wanted to curse them.
That's all I wanted to do. For they are blessed. Oh, thank you. You are blessed. And I'm blessed. You're blessed. We're all blessed. And Lip Balm flavored rose up in the morning and said unto the princesses of Barak, Get you into your land. For the Lord
get you.
Balm, oh my, refuseth
Get
to
you.
give me, get you, get it everywhere. To give me, leave me to go with you. And the princesses of a big fat Moab rose up, oh my, pitch your tent, as they went on to Barak and said, Lip Balm refuseth to come with us.
Oh, boy.
Hold on, let me read that again. And the princesses of Moab rose up. They got a big tent. And they went on to Barak and said, Balaam, my favorite lip balm, refuseth to come.
Refuses, yeah.
Refuseth to come with us. Okay, there we go. So what is all this going on that we're saying? God came to Balaam and said to him, Who are these men with you? Why, you looking for a hot date? Balaam said to God, Balak sent these men to say to me, There are people who came, kinky, out of Egypt and now cover their face of the earth. Come to Moab and curse them so I can drive them out. God said to Balaam, Don't go with them and don't curse the people because they are blessed. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. I like how we have a new main character because we killed Aaron. BT Dubs. We got, yeah,
Well,
our main.
you remember what he did?
Moses
He tapped on the rock
somewhere.
twice.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it feels like a fedora moment, but no, he just tapped on a rock.
Tapped on a rock
and
twice.
Had to die.
God said, strip, Newman.
Oh, baby. And then he died. And keep on sending those comments in. Pat says it's important to remember that ancient Romans, pre-Christian, pagans, decorated their homes and temples with evergreen branches during Saturnalia, which occurred in December. Yeah, it seems like it was just a transitionary holiday and period. You put on the new paint. I guess these holidays don't come out of nowhere, right? And it doesn't make sense why any of the things that we do or they do on Christmas is associated with Jesus. I mean, like, why does Jesus coming back from the dead have to do with putting presents and having lights and drinking
Christmas
eggnog?
would be the birth of Jesus, and then Easter would be the resurrection. But yeah, it's all tradition and practices.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But none of that stuff, yeah. There's just no correlation.
They used to make
him dying. That was zombie
happy birthday, Jesus, birthday cakes on Christmas. Happy birthday, Jesus.
My favorite question, or one of my favorite questions to ask Christians, if you have a time machine, would you take Jesus off the cross?
Well, no, they would
I
say
haven't found anyone who said yes.
Couldn't,
to me is
because
funny.
Yeah.
Which means if you were stuck and Jesus was there, that means they'd watch.
You need that scapegoat.
Would you slow clap while Jesus died?
Scapegoat, Newman.
That good old scapegoat. Thank you, Jesus.
Remember, he's got all your sins on his shoulders.
And those are the good guys. Once again, the good guys.
Wilderness
And they're always like, But the scapegoat was so nice. Yeah, our focus isn't on the guy you killed. That is not the focus. I don't care if he was the perfect whatever. I don't care if he was spewing sandwiches out of his butthole that fed people permanently. You killed him, and that doesn't make you the good guy.
Amy.
I don't understand that at all. I really don't understand. It only makes sense when you take on sacrificial mindsets. So freaking ridiculous. Anyway, moving forward, and they came to Balaam, to Lip Balm. Oh, okay. And said to him, thus saith, I thus saith all over, Barak, the son of Zippor's lighter, let nothing go to waste. You're going to eat your whole meal. I pray, get on your knees, baby, that thee hinder thee from coming onto me.
Oh, I was going to say they still stuck
it says. I was going to say they stuck the landing, James. That was them. For I will promote thee if you're going to make an awesome DJ concert. Unto very great honor. That works too. And I will do whatsoever thou sayest unto me, Kinky. Come, therefore, I pray thee, curse me, this people. God, you're being extra. Ugh. And Lip Balm answered, how are you guys doing? You guys want any fries? And said unto the, I haven't had this get stuck in my throat in a while, James. Ahem. Is this slavery getting stuck in my throat?
No, Newman. It's the servant. That's all it means.
Servants.
Don't read into it.
That's right, servants.
Yeah.
Totally. Sup, the freak? What is up?
Like the freak. He's a servant of God.
And Lip Balm answered and said unto totally not slaves of Barak.
Oh, not slave.
Totally not. No.
Absolutely.
If Barak would give me his house full of silver and gold watches, I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord, Bob, my goddess, to do less or pay more. I kind of like pay less. It's a good, actually, they're going out of business. God darn it.
Yeah, they've been shut down for like, down for like a year.
Yo, you're killing me. They were one of the few things, if you're a tall lady with some big feet, they were a great store. Oh, man.
They had
and
shoes in your size?
They did. And they had some decent styles. Not a lot of styles, but, beggars can't be choosers, and it was more than one. So, sending love to Payless, we hardly knew ye. At least anymore. We knew you mostly through the 80s and 90s and a little bit into the end of the 2000s as you fought the internet. Anyway, I have to mourn great shoes. Or decent shoes. Let's not go too far. And
decent shoes.
Decent shoes. You can't complain.
Decent.
The Larry David is about to come out of me. Could you complain about it? Did they get you from point A to point B? Probably a better complaint department. It was probably like a store clerk that really hated their life, but that's okay. Sending love to all Payless employees.
Store clerk, Payless.
I would have I worked for Macy's. I sold shoes at Macy's. So, good times.
How was that?
It was good in that I got a discount on shoes, like 30% off too, which is bombing.
Can't complain about that.
So you can see where my priorities are. So God,
Jeez.
listen to me. We're looking for a personal relationship here. I'm just telling you. You could have done the star. They get all dramatic. They're like, well, if you see the stars rearranged, stars in the sky, the apocalypse. How about like size 11 shoes? No.
Yeah.
Just break them down.
Conjure them up out of nowhere.
Oh, do the angel state. You're big on angels. Have an angel. I won't judge them. They'll be fine. Be fine. I won't even try to have sex with them. Angel. Like apparently that happens in the Bible. Hey, I want you to know everyone looks better with eyeliner. He rocks the guy liner. I'm not even gonna hate. Not that I pay attention to those type of things. Those are the only types of magic that is real. Is fake magic. Fake magic is real magic. Real magic is fake magic. That is the funny thing about life. Oh, man. Because if anyone tells you that they can accurately predict your future and they're not wearing funny clothing and dancing or anything like that or making silly jokes, please run. Please hold your wallet as far down into your pants as you can and don't give these people a cent. And we're moving through the chapter, and then what?
Actually, would you like to see my DVDs on for sale, Newman?
Oh, I do have actually a 15-foot long 15. That's funny, James said. Oh, that was perfect timing. I know you couldn't have done that. And okay, Doomvar, sending hearts out to you. I'm sympathetic. I'm lucky in that it is 11 women's. So it cuts off like if I had to translate, but that was like the peak of fucking of Payless. They're like, look, bitch, we'll go up this high. They had a few 12s. They had some 12s, but man, just sending love for all those larger girls and taller girls out there. We got to search for those cute shoes. Life is so hard. Band together. The internet.
Find them on the internet? Yeah, I was going to say that.
Exactly. It feels nice to try them on, though. But, like I said, beggars can't be tried for. Oh, Vesta, sending love. That's why the internet.
15 foot? Wow.
And, once you actually do find those pair, and they just slide on, and you don't have to like fight it. Sometimes you gotta wiggle. That's what she said to make it. I'm okay with a little wiggle.
It's fun,
but it feels good. It feels like a princess moment when the shoe goes in. You're like, yes, it fits. This is a black boot. You're not quite a princess, and keep on sending your comments in at Amy Newman if you want your comment read on screen. Send in love, or if you're waiting to go on our open mic, that we'll be switching into it at the open mic portion where you can tell us where we got it all wrong. And all right.
So, yeah.
Oh, so I pray you. Now, therefore, I pray you. Tarry ye ho. Also, here this night. But only this night, not in the morning. You can get that out of here. That I may know, go do the walk of shame. That I may know what the Lord Bob tastes like. Oh, wait, no. Will say unto me more. Tell me more, tell me more. Okay. So Balaam said to his second set of princes, you fuck everything up. Everything in this Bible is just nothing but God and God's chosen people. I know. Like, what in the literal hell?
Like almost slapstick level.
Yeah, they fall on the prophets fall on their face sometimes, literally. I won't go to Balak even if he gives me his house filled with silver and gold. That's funny. I won't even go there. You can give me everything. I don't even care. God said I can't go, and that's that. But stay here tonight. You can stay here. There maybe God will say something else to me. Me and God are kind of like this. I always find it funny the way that people talk about their relationship with God. Because it always sounds like
Sky
they are
Daddy.
dating them. Like, we make fun of it, but it really does. I talk with him every day. You do?
All day.
Record it. Get that tape recorder.
Well, no,
Hey,
you
Dom.
only hear him in your head, silly.
Amazing how that works.
Yeah. You hear him inside, like he's inside your head.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And okay, moving along, Numbers chapter 22. God tells Balaam to go with the men of Moab.
Oh boy. Here we go.
And we're just keep on feasting on the laughs, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you think about when you were sitting there in Sunday school. You're like, man, the Bible is just so exciting and funny and chock full of wisdom. Yeah, that's
Wisdom
what I thought he was. And Goddess came. We could just stop the Bible study there, right?
That's enough. That's it.
That's enough. It's enough for her. It's enough for me. And Goddess came onto lip balm at night. Hey, whatever you got to do. Hope you're going down on her. And said unto her, if the women come to call thee, rise up and go with them. But yet the word which I shall say unto thee, again Shakespearean, that shall thou do. God came to Balaam at night and said to him, it's so funny that God comes to anyone at night. That means that God was doing shit during the day, like going shopping, went to the movies.
I mean, he's got stuff to do.
Got an ice cream. Yeah. And then he came around, talked to Balaam. Good schedule.
Like, God, really? You could have come all day. Now that I'm falling asleep, now you want to come?
I know. Always nagging at the end of the night. If the men ask you to go with them, but only do what I tell you to do. Kinky. Why is he so first person? I still can't get over this. Every time that they're like, he's not a sky daddy, what do you expect? Do you expect him to come down and talk to you? Yes. I expect him to give me like our real-time strategy video game level instructions.
Zoom call?
I expect frigging programming level. They call him a programmer. Where's the programming? Come down here. And if it's just the Sims and he can't do shit, actually, you could do tons of shit in the Sims. I don't understand this God at all. Okay, we as designers can interact with our creations. The God of the Old Testament interacts with everybody all the time. So where is your God? That's what we are asking. And woohoo! Send in love, Vesta. Send in hearts.
Hearts and minds.
Hearts and minds. And when we say it, we actually, I use all those types of metaphorical language because it is fun and part of me. And I really wish that religion could do the same. We would not have to do this, James and I, day in and day out, if 40% of this country and the leading majority of people of the world, because number one, didn't believe that this shit was real. Like, not metaphorical, not like you need to understand the journey to get you there. Like, no. When we say 6 days, we mean 6 days. When we mean that the rabbi guy came back to life, we mean that. And no, they hate when we call them zombies.
Not only him, but other people popped out of the grave.
That's right. That's right. You forget about actual zombies. Like no fedora moment. Like, you can debate whether Jesus was a zombie coming back to life because it is one of two. Either his body regenerated, in which, okay, we need to understand that Yahweh magic going on, the secret sauce, or his body didn't regenerate, in which
Amy's got
I don't know how to tell you. Oh, baby. I don't know how to tell you this, but if you came back from the dead and your body didn't regenerate, you should apply for The Walking Dead. I'm just going to leave it at that. And there were actual zombies because people came back from the dead and started walking through Jerusalem, right?
Of course, if you ask Gavin, he'll say, that's just the Bible being a little hyperbolic. That's
a tiny bit.
That's just a little much of scripture. You got to take that with a pinch of salt.
You have to pinch many things. And all right. C. Oh my. And God came. We orgasmed. That's always nice. And Lip Balm rose up in the morning. Oh man. Why does the Bible do this to me? Oh man, it does it.
It can't help it, Amy.
Can't help. I don't. Ladies and gentlemen, you think that
It's
we're
gonna get
sitting
worse.
here trolling the Bible? You think that, but really, I swear, sometimes the Bible's trolling us.
Don't worry, it's gonna get worse.
And Lip Balm got a big old Hardy in the morning and saddled his ass. Woo! And went with.
Remember the story of Joseph with the sacks too?
Oh,
the sacks of grain.
How can I forget? You need
the sacks on the asses.
It's important that you hold your sacks, and they all agree. And Lip Balm rose up, baby, and he saddled that ass and went with the princess of that big old fat Moab. And Goddess's anger was in Amazon Kindle because he went, and the angel, Chris Angel, and the Chris Angel of the Lord Bob stood in the way for an adversary against him. Wow, he keeps on getting adversaries. Now he was... Oh, I love this book sometimes. Now he was riding upon his ass.
Ride it, Newman, ride it.
And his two servants were with him. Yo, I definitely saw this one on Pornhub.
Ride it, Newman.
Yahweh, now you're starting to talk my language, baby. Why don't we see this in church? Look, when I think of the Bible, when I am in a deep, dark section that I don't know how to get out of, I look to Numbers chapter 22 and I say, now he was riding upon his ass and his two servants were with him. And I just know that I'm going to get out of whatever trouble has been coming my way. Thank you, Bible, for so much wisdom. Ooh, man, ride that ass, baby. It's biblical. That's what the Bible says. And the ass saw Chris Angel, and the ass saw the Chris Angel of the Lord standing in the way. He was a big ass. And his sword drawn in his hand. Is that what they're calling it these days?
That's what they call it, a sword, yeah.
And the ass turned aside out of the way and bent over and went into the field. That also works. And Lip Balm smote that ass. Yeah, baby. To turn him into the way. I don't know. I think Yahweh. All right. This is the way. See? Became the Mandalorian. I've seen that.
The way,
I guess
truth,
rule,
and the
rule
life.
32, Rule 34.
No man comes in the
That's
Father
right.
except by him.
Oh, my. See, those are the passages you got to remember. When you're shake weighting, trying to get all those plates to stay up.
Yeah.
But the angel who apparently is a real person, like a real physical angel that we don't have any evidence for in this lifetime.
The donkey sees him, but nobody else sees him.
Yeah.
How unusual is that? The donkey can clearly see him, but nobody else can see the angel.
This also goes on top of a long line of things that could have been solved by Shrek. Just putting it out there, this entire scenario, he knew how to, I don't want to say put a talking donkey in line, but he knew how to make things work, okay? When you got to put your ass in line, I don't think of Yahweh, but anyway.
We'll let you talk about that.
Well, let me tell James, I know a good ass when I see one. And all right, he's smoting people again. All right, let's just try to unpack this, because as much as we make fun of this, the Bible is being ridiculous right now. So let's not sugarcoat it with our stupidness. God was angry with him because he went with them. Or hold on, let's go. So Balaam got up the next morning and went with the princes of Moab. God was angry with him because he went with them. An angel stood in his way while he rode on his donkey. The donkey saw the angel standing in front of him, so he turned to go around him. And Balaam smote the donkey to turn him the other way. Once again, we're having a three-way battle between a dude, an angel, and a donkey.
And the donkey is winning.
And the donkey's... What? James, what the are we reading? They told us this is inspired by God.
They're playing fucking checkers. The donkey is playing chess.
I know, apparently. But the angel was still in the way, and there was no room to go around him. What are they, in a hallway? What the hell is going on?
There's nowhere else to go.
Since there was a wall on each side.
There's a wall. There's a wall on one side and Andrew Cuomo on the other. How you gonna get by him?
3,000 years ago. Like, I understand in the city. Where the hell are they? This is like, whatever. Logistics, not the Bible's strong suit. When the donkey saw the angel in the way, totally, this is legit scripture, she struck the wall and hurt Balaam's foot. And Balaam smote the donkey again. The angel moved in front of the donkey again. This is like Jerry Springer on South Park. And this time, there was no room for the donkey to go around him, so the donkey gave up. He was like, fuck this shit. He fell down. This made Balaam angry, so he smote the donkey with his staff. Holy shit. What the did we just read? So I'm trying to process right now. This is what my ancestors talked about and spread for thousands of years. They memorized this shit and passed this on.
Spent hours studying and hanging on every word and trying to.
It's an angry donkey. James, is a donkey and an angel fighting right now? Like, is a human, a donkey, and an angel like in a cartoon battle? Because that is what I just interpreted.
It's more like Balaam and the angel are adversaries, but unfortunately only the donkey can see the angel right now. So, yeah.
Wow. So
Balaam can't even see the fucking angel, but the donkey can. Yeah. God kind of forgot that if you're going to send an angel, wouldn't you want him to be able to be seen, or you want him to keep the invisibility cloak on? Except for the donkey. The donkey can see him, but nobody else can.
Why can the donkey see the angel?
That it doesn't say why. It just says the donkey can see him, but Balaam can't.
But James, if you call this a fairy tale, if you call this a myth, if you use any of those types of words,
I mean, you're gonna tell me some guy, some guy takes like magic beans and throws them out in his yard. The next day, there's a fucking beanstalk 500 feet in the air all the way up to the fucking clouds. If you go tell me that, you're crazy. But this talking donkey and this angel, that's
James,
real.
If you're going to tell me that you planted seeds and it grew all the way up to the clouds, that is ridiculous. If you're going to tell me a bunch of people built a skyscraper up to the clouds and then God knocked it over, I mean, come on, that's science.
Scripture, yeah.
Scripture, yes, makes sense. Totally. Okay, as we're moving along and we're about to hit the
as we are riding that ass.
Balaam and his donkey have a conversation.
So this is like where Jerry's like, okay, guys, come, let's talk about it. Come on, Balaam. All right. Come on, Mr. Donkey. All right. You want to go first, Balaam?
I'm just imagining a donkey in a chair right now, but yeah, guess what? And the lie detector test decided, well, that's Mari, but close enough. If you just joined us, we are reading Numbers chapter 22 in our Skeptic Bible Study as we talk about Balaam's ass. Thick and juicy. He's a nice guy too, the donkey. Apparently he is smarter.
It's not the donkey's fault. Yeah.
Not the donkey's fault. Look.
Donkey just says, whoa, God just magically created vocal cords for me to talk with. Okay. God gave me a brain that can understand language.
Exactly. Somehow God gave the donkey the ability to see angels. But in fairness, we're not all green ogres, so we can't all speak to donkeys. We got a tough time. Though that would be silly, honestly, James. That would be a silly, mythological, inspired story.
Absolutely. It'd be ridiculous, as a matter of fact.
Ridiculous. Can you imagine princes and princesses and all this shit? Anyway,
I mean, that'd be like fucking 40 dukes in Genesis. That would be crazy.
Oh my god.
Fucking dukes.
And you're a duke, and she's a duke, and he's a duke, and they're a duke. And
no, it would be no she-dukes.
I know. I was thinking that as I said that. Yeah, there wouldn't be no she.
Put up your dukes, Newman.
Boom, boom, boom. And I mean, I was almost going to name this chapter something else. I'm going to name that chapter for the next chapter. But my goddess, there are just some moments when you're reading the Bible that Jews, Christians, whoever you are, they must just either speed read or just skip entire passages. Because if I was a theist, if I was a believer, and I was looking at some of these passages, I'd be like, it really says donkey? Talking? And the angel. And the angel was scaring the donkey? And it's like, no, total science right here. We're going
They can read the words. They can read the words. It just doesn't penetrate the mind.
Oh my! Penetrate my mind, baby.
Like sodomizing your mind.
Sounds like a date.
Woohoo!
And we are about 3/4 through the way. I think I said. I am gonna send.
We are almost
a link to our Twitch. If you like to stream on Twitch, we are trying to hit 50 followers on there. So feel free to join us on there because we stream on Twitch, we stream on Facebook, and we stream on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. And in fact, if you have a platform that you stream on or that you like to view, and you're like, hey, why isn't my favorite skeptic and ranting content on that podcast? Tell us and we'll get it on there. Been thinking of spreading out more, doing like some iTunes and stuff soon. So that would be fun. Sending love, everybody in the internet sphere. You guys are what make all of this possible. James got summoned by Satan, and he's coming back. But we are going to be heading into the open mic soon, so we're going to be moving forward as we get to the real meat, ladies and gentlemen. Our headliner of tonight, an ass. Because apparently he is a character in the Bible. No, really. Totally makes sense. What is up, Xanos? Says I exclusively watch Blog Talk TV. I'll have to see if they stream towards that.
Let's see if we can get on there.
I know you can stream to Twitter, which is a weird kind of thing. But supposedly that's a thing. And all right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move into
Newman.
our red meat of our night. Balaam and his donkey have a conversation. Shrek 2? Really? All right. And the Lord Bob, open that mouth. I shouldn't even make joke. I should just let the Bible speak for itself. And the Lord Bob opened the mouth of the ass. Oh, baby. You know what they call that sweet red
How
spot.
wide?
All right. Spread them.
How wide was it?
Said how wide it... Can you fit a 15 long... Oh, Xanos is being sarcastic. I should have known because by like it was like a blog starting to stream now on blog.tinfoil.info.com.
Oh,
we'll send in love
after the Alex Jones show.
After the Alex Jones show. Well, it reminds me of people who quote their own. Won't name names, but it reminds me of theists who quote their own websites, maybe, and who knows?
Oh, the roleplay site, right?
The roleplay site. I wish
Yeah,
we always want more theists to come on here. We're just teasing. We're just lightly roasting, like almonds. Lightly roasted. Delicious. And the Lord Bob opened their mouth. It like goes right in there. Of the ass.
Where else was it going to go?
I know. And he said unto Lip Balm, what have I done unto thee, that thou hast smitten me these 3 times? Once again, you're not hallucinating. Or apparently he's not hallucinating.
No.
A donkey is speaking English or Latin or whatever the Hebrew, whatever the hell they were speaking back then. And Lip Balm said unto the ass, oh man, what a sentence. Because thou hast mocked me. You did a terrible routine about me. I was offended. I would there were a sword in mine hand. For now I will kill thee. Stabby, stabby, stabby.
You went to the extreme there. What do you think?
I know. I don't know. Pretty hot. And that big fat ass said unto Lip Balm, am I not I thine ass? Am not I thine ass? There we go. Baby girl, you always my ass.
Or thine ass.
Sit here, baby girl, you that hot ass. Upon which thou hast ridden ever since I was thine unto this day. Getting really Shakespearean up in here. Was I ever wont to do so unto thee? And he said, nay. Oh, he's getting extra. So what did we just read?
God skull on him. You might need the skull.
I know. Why is God talking through a donkey? Like, what fucking book are we reading? What did I do to you?
He just came down, didn't he? Earlier in the study, he got already keyed. Yeah.
That makes sense. Balaam said to his donkey, you mocked me. I wish I had a sword and I'd kill you. The donkey said to Balaam, aren't I your donkey? Have I ever mistreated you? Balaam answered, no. Great conversation. That was really fruitful. Thanks.
He's
Oh my
having a
Lord.
conversation with the donkey.
Did we just have a conversation with a donkey? Are they telling us this is the inspired word of God?
100%.
I almost dropped my sword. Don't drop your sword, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it nice and high, nice and firm in your hand until you can sheath that sword, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I think this is our last section of the night.
Just
Balaam
light on
goes to
categories.
Moab. Right, and light on categories, but that is okay because we are about to be slipping into our open mic. Oh my, which I will be sending the link for in chat if you would like to go.
It's coming.
That's what she or he said. But I'll tell you, I've been having fun, James. What about you? A lot of wisdom?
This has been one of those memorial stories, that'll just kind of stick with you forever. Donkey gets the best of Balaam here.
Yeah, I always find it amazing how God and his acolytes keep on frigging everything up. That's my favorite
Fucking
part.
up every chance they get.
Everything.
Like, I used to say my son's mother could burn a pot of boiling water.
And all right, the link is in chat. I'm going to go like that right now. And I'll pin it.
Oh boy.
As we
Open up the
move
floodgates.
through our last section of the night of our Skeptic Bible Study. And I see Mark already sending hearts backstage, but feel free, anyone else, to join us, especially those that disagree, because I'm sure James, I, and Mark would all love to know where exactly the wisdom is. I'm sure we're trying to find it. We haven't had a good chance so far, but Balaam goes to Moab as we move into our final section of the Bible tonight. And if you just joined us, we just had a talking ass, literally, not metaphorically. Like, there is no context. I would love to see the apologetic for this. I'm sure there is one. They got an apologetic for everyone. Oh, man. All right. Then the Lord, Bob, opened the eyes of Lip Balm. Oh, James got summoned by Satan himself. We sell timeshares in hell. Lovely view of the damned if anyone is interested. Then the Lord, Bob, opened the eyes. I almost thought that said Batman, but it's Balaam, our Lord, our happy Lip Balm character. And he saw Chris, angel of the Lord, standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. Ooh, it's getting epic. And he bowed down his head, still with the swords, and he fell flat on his face. Total Three Stooges happens over and over and over in the Bible for whatever reason. Makes sense if you don't really think about it. And the Chris angel of the Lord said unto him, Wherefore hast thou smitten that thick thine ass? These the 3 times. Why'd you smack that ass 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand thee. Behold. I always imagine that with a staff. Because thy way is perverse before me. So perverse. And the ass saw me. That isn't porn I wasn't expecting. Oh God, the ass. It sees us. Run!
It's got eyes on the back of that ass.
has googly eyes. And the ass saw me. I love how intelligent the actual donkey is in this paragraph randomly. And turned from me these 3 times. Unless he had turned from me, surely now also I had slain thee and saved him alive. Okay.
And not only does the donkey talk, but he can also think and process high-level reasoning.
And apparently see gods better than us. Or angels or supernatural beings, whatever you like. Then
Balaam should ask the angel, hey, how come you made it so the donkey could see it, but I can't? Do you think that was funny? You fucking around with us?
Israelites thought they were chosen people, but God has a real chosen person, and it's that ass. Anyway, then God opened Balaam's eyes so he could, that seems to be the moral of the story tonight. When in doubt, that ass. So he could see the angel, and he fell flat on his face. The angel said to Balaam, why did you smote your donkey 3 times? I love this conversation. If she hadn't seen me, I mean, first of all, you shouldn't beat your animals, but this is just such a weird conversation between an angel. We make fun of Joseph Smith. Is this really any better? Like, what the is going on right now? Okay, sure, totally better. Makes more sense. He's still a con man, too. Still a con man. But this is also a little
at the girl dick level.
This seems a little girl dick level. If she hadn't seen me and turned away, if it wasn't for you kids and that damn dog, I would have killed you and kept her alive. But trust me, I'm the good guy. There's always the good guys. That's all we're talking to tonight. God's good, Balaam's good. Everybody seems to be a good guy. You can tell by how much they're smacking animals and killing people. Balaam said to the angel, I have sinned, Kinky. Oh, wait, here we go. I got too far ahead of myself. And Balaam, my lip balm, said unto the angel of the Chris angel of the Lord.
Oh, my starry-eyed surprise.
Be very hot. I knew not that thou stoodest in the way against me.
Yeah, now, I couldn't fucking see you. No shit. You're fucking hiding. I couldn't fucking see you.
Hey.
You were in my blind spot.
All-powerful doesn't mean he's all-powerful, James. Picky. Now, therefore, if it pleases me, if it please thee, I will get me back again. I'm sorry, what? Balaam said to the angel, I have sinned because I didn't know you were standing in the way. If you want me to go to Balak, I'll go home. Oh, you're going to turn the celestial minivan around. And the Chris angel of the Lord Bob said unto Lip Balm, go with the men, have a fun night out. Ooh. But only the word that I shall speak unto thee, that thou shalt speak. Oh my God, she has to ruin everything. Just going out with the guys. We're gonna have some drinks. We were gonna beat a freaking ass, as you do. So Lip Balm went with the princesses of Barak. And when Barak heard that Lip Balm had come,
with the donkey or by himself?
Oh, whatever you're into. He went out to meet him, oh my, onto the city of a big fat Moab, which is in the border of Ar and Ra, that guy we kind of killed, his head priest that was kind of silently doing everything for the past few chapters while God killed his sons.
He tapped that rock twice. I don't know. He's done.
All you had to do was take a rock and just hit it once, James. Is it really that hard? You hit the rock twice. I think death penalty is kind of warranted. You can't hit a rock twice. It's blasphemy.
I'm sorry you're being carjacked. All my officers are executing people for picking up sticks. As soon as they get done killing them all, we could send somebody out to you.
Picky. Happens to the best of us. And all right, we're gathering near princesses and princes. When Barak heard... Oh, wait, border of Aaron, okay. Did Barak said unto Balaam... I'm confusing paragraphs. Hold on, let me combine in my mind. And Barak said unto Lipbam... There we go, ladies and gentlemen. The train is back on board. Did I not earnestly send unto thee to call thee? Call me. Wherefore cam girls thou not unto me? Hey?
Did you say cam girls?
Yes, that's what it says. Wherefore cam girls thou not unto me? I think that's what it says.
Yeah.
Am I not able indeed to promote thee as a cool DJ, Your Honor? And Litbam said unto Barak, Lo and behold, I have come all over
finally.
unto thee. Finally.
At least we got that done.
That's right. At least priorities. Have I now any power at all to say anything? Oh, no. The word that goddess put right down my mouth that I shall speak. And Litbam went with Barak, and they came. Oh, man. I love a happy ending.
Together?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They came together.
So romantic.
Right on to Kira Jana Zuthamana Huvazama Dubada. The third. And Barak offered oxen and sheep that he had left over from Oregon Trail and sent them to Lipbam and to the princesses that were with him. And it came to pass on the morrow that Barak took Lipbam and brought him up and got him way high up into the places.
How high?
Got the munchies. That's all I can say. He was.
Was it a real heroic? Was it a heroic dose?
I don't. It might not have been a heroic dose.
I question your ego death, Amy.
Take an ounce.
It's like a ego death light, like a diet ego death.
Half an ego death.
Yeah.
And we went up into all of the balls, and thence he might see the utmost part of the people. So what did we just read? Let's hold on. Maybe you stupid skeptics. The wisdom was buried beneath your
gotta read between the lines for the wisdom.
Exactly. Then God opened Balaam's eyes so he could see the angel, and he fell flat on his face. No, ladies and gentlemen, the Fedora atheist didn't make that up. That's what it says. The angel said to Balaam...
It's in their Bible.
It's in your Bible, ladies and gentlemen. Where you tell us. The angel said to Balaam, why did you smite your donkey 3 times? And why did you waste time on scripture talking about a donkey? Oh, really? Most important thing. No, fits the narrative. Whatever. If she hadn't seen me and turned away, I would have killed you and kept her alive. Balaam said to the angel, I have sinned because I didn't know you were standing in the way, because I can't see angels. That's kind of my donkey's power. If you don't want me to go to Balak, I'll go home. The angel said to Balaam, no. Go with the men, hot, but only do things that I tell you to do, also hot. So Balaam went with the princes of Balak. When Balak heard that Balaam had come, he went out to meet with him. Have dinner too? Balak said to Balaam...
Dinner and a drink.
And a drink. Didn't I ask you to come? Why didn't you? They're making the jokes for me. Balaam said, I have come. Whatever God tells me to say, I will say.
Thank you, Balaam.
My goddess, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go into our open mic.
That was a doozy, huh?
But, James, what I think I'm going to have to ask you is, how do you think of our chapter review? Was it packed filled with as much wisdom as you had expected?
That's one for the ages, that we'll never get over that one. That's going to be just, yeah. We will come back to that one time after time after time, and it will never get old.
However, if you disagree with the heathens that you see before us...
Maybe Mark disagrees.
I was going to say, maybe, sometimes the vegetarian bird gets converted live on stream. Maybe Mark got converted. You never know. We're about to go into our open mic, the link of which is in chat.
Well, I think we lost Amy for a second, guys. Here she comes.
Sometimes I need to.
Here she comes
as well. But okay,
Amy, did you come yet?
All right. Ooh, I did. I had to get over a donkey. Had to see an angel for me to come.
Gavin down there.
But after we did, absolutely. Gavin, was the angel as good for you as it was for me? He says yes.
Oh, we got Kathy down there.
Double that dose, baby.
So there you go.
That's right.
Double it.
And all right, we are at the 2-hour 15 mark. We're going to go for about a half an hour of fun open micness. So now is your time to join us as we switch into our Skeptic Bible Study open mic.
That's right.
What is up, Mark?
Hey, Mark.
We hope you are doing well. We had to get you mid-sip. That's the only way that it was going to work.
Timing. Good stuff. Good stuff.
We hope that you're doing well. And what are your thoughts about, oh man, we've been talking a lot about asses tonight, so you must be a lot of wisdom.
Yeah, I love discussing asses. It's my favorite thing to do. I'm enheartened by all of the ass jokes coming out. It's just fantastic. I love it. Thank you for having me on. It's wonderful to see you all, and good evening or morning or night to all of the beautiful people in chat and everybody here. It's good to see you all. I've just got a few things I want to talk about with this passage. I always love to nitpick, and the Bible, one thing I'll agree with Christians, the Bible's just the gift that keeps on giving, really. I mean, some passages you can go, oh, they're trying to teach the people this, or they're trying to make some kind of moral statement, and then you get these. It's just like, what were they trying to say? And we just, maybe somebody can shed some light on what they were trying to get done, because maybe it's don't be cruel to your ass. I don't know. It's so weird. So my first note was on the way that the God of the Bible is acting here, and it's very strange, because God is, and I think maybe James touched on it. God's acting like a jealous girlfriend, like he's talking to Balaam and going, "Hey, you can go with the boys, but don't do anything you shouldn't do, or say whatever I want you to say," kind of thing. And immediately goes, "Oh yeah, I'll go with the boys then. I'll go off with the boys." And God gets angry, and it's like, wait, you just told him to do that. You just said go with them, and then you're angry because he did exactly what you told him to do. And we see this in a few instances in the Bible where God says, "Hey, do this," and the person does it, and immediately God gets mad, like really mad. And it's like, he only did what you told him to do. That's all. And this donkey thing, it's really weird, the way that sort of I'll just find where I want to talk the ass starts talking. The Lord opens the mouth of the ass, and she. So in my King James I've got here, it's actually a female ass. So let's not, confuse the gender here. What have I done unto me? Thou hast smitten me these 3 times. And Balaam said to the ass, because thou hast mocked me. That's not what I would have said. What I would have said was, you can talk? Like, why have you been quiet all this time? It's just this. He's completely unsurprised by this. Just,
silent bomb.
Right, like Bronze Age.
Moment.
Animals talk all the time. Why am I surprised? Not in the slightest bit taken aback by this ass suddenly, lecturing him for animal cruelty. Like what is going on? It just seems so strange. And the next thing he sort of says is, "Have I ever mistreated you?" The ass says, and Balaam says no, and it's like, wait, didn't it just hurt your foot? Like, didn't it just hurt you? Why would you say no? You could have said, hey ass, you just busted up my foot. It's gonna, my health insurance is gonna be affected. You suck. Like, I don't understand why. Yeah, it's just weird. And one thing you guys did touch upon was like, why does God expect Balaam to be aware of the angel? It's like, if you said to me, oh, well, you didn't stop for me, I would say, well, don't be invisible then. It's such a weird thing to go, well, have an invisible angel that your ass can see. The ass turns aside, and then you go, well, why didn't you turn your ass? And it's like, why did you be invisible and fuck with me in the middle of the road? What are you doing? Like, what is this? This is a girlfriend with mental health issues. That's what this is. It's you can go out, but don't say anything unless I've permitted you to say it. Oh, I'm mad that he's gone out. Oh, I'm gonna fuck with him. Why didn't you pay attention to me? It's all just it's crazy. This one's one of those ones. It's one of those real head scratchers that I guess people that don't believe in the sort of literal Bible take a lot of pleasure in, because it's nonsensical all the way through, and you can't imagine what moral statement they were trying to impart with this. It's lost in time. Maybe there was some moral statement, but what it could be, no idea.
Thank you so very much, Mark. And yeah,
thank you for listening to me rant. I'll just rant. Yeah, it is skeptic and ranting. I will rant.
That's right. This channel is made for ranting, and I agree with you.
Woo-hoo.
I have no idea, like, why. I don't know why the story's in here. Like, I feel like the only apologetic they're going to give me is you need it for the narrative. That if you take this out, you can't have anything else. It just all falls together like dominoes. That makes no sense to me. You could pull entire books of the Bible just fine. As long as you keep in original sin. Like the first book you need for Christianity.
Right.
Is it just funny that the Bible's concerned with somebody smacking an animal, but smacking your slaves around, as long as you don't kill them, isn't really that big of a deal,
Well, I mean, it seemed to be. The angel seemed to be more concerned with the fact that the donkey moved and he punished the donkey for moving. I don't know. It seemed less that, hey, you shouldn't beat your donkey because morally it's wrong, and the donkey didn't do anything. I don't know. It's a really weird one.
And all right, I'm sending the link back into stream, but we're going to get Pat in here for his opening, and then we're going to go into open conversation. Having fun, guys. We are Skeptic Bible studying on Balaam's ass, because that apparently is a real time. The funniest thing is, if you Google Balaam's ass, you get lots of lots of legitimate Google searches. That's my favorite thing. But yes, Pat Lowinger, we are having a very sophisticated Bible study tonight. Yes, that's right, everyone. Get your monocle ready.
The most sophisticated.
Most sophisticated.
Classy.
We hope you are doing good, Pat. And what do you think about all this ass wisdom we're talking about?
Well, thanks for having me on. And I must say, if getting a little ass is what you want to do, Amy's show tonight is where you can get it. Get a little ass, have a little fun. But no, I see these kind of stories. These are what you'd expect from Bronze Age literature: talking animals, acting as divine agents. This again, nothing's going to shock those that study the literature, the genre of the period, and the literature of the period. So this is something you'd expect. Now, from a modern standpoint, a talking donkey and miraculous unseen angels that only animals can see. Well, think in a modern context. There's a lot of people today that believe that animals and children can see the supernatural, that they have a ability to pierce the veil that adults can't. So again, we're laughing, but there are people today that hold the exact same beliefs that are represented in this story, and maybe we should be openly mocking them. That's a discussion for a different time. But no, thanks for having me on. I think these kind of stories are important to look at the literature. I do think that when you start drilling down on it, you realize that there's quite a bit going on, and I shouldn't say it's important to study, but it is. But for skeptics, it's even a little bit more important to understand how crazy the religion actually is and the foundational belief system. And for that, I'll just wait for someone to come on and explain why this has actually happened, because from a biblical point of view, it had to happen. Defend the donkey is what I say.
Defend the donkey.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
The gauntlets have been thrown down. And all right,
Donkey
with
challenge.
that, we're going to go into about 30 minutes of open conversation before we all head over to the Discord. But like Pat was saying, come on and tell us where we're wrong. Tell us why the donkey is just a truly amazing passage. They should be learning about it in Sunday school.
Well, in fairness, it's only a problem if you're a biblical literalist. If you're just somebody that says, "Hey, it's a parable or a some kind of metaphor for something," then you're fine. It's only the literalists that actually have a problem.
I 100% agree, but I mean that's almost the problem in and of itself, right? Is that if they were just taking the whole Bible as metaphorical, we wouldn't even need to do this Bible study. But because 40% of this country, and because a large portion of the West, not even the Western world, the world believes that this is true, we have to sit there and really just hold their feet to the fire and be like, a donkey, right? Talking donkey? You're telling me inspired by God? Because I'll put Shrek, any of the movies. You can pick 1, 2. I think there's 3. I'll take that over what we just read tonight. I'm just putting that on the table side by side.
Animation goes a long way, Amy. Animation is kind of entertaining. I mean, maybe they should animate this Bible tale. You guys ever remember the old show Davy and Goliath, the little animated show? Okay, well, imagine Davy and Goliath do this one. Well, Davy, right? This would be a great little, claymation, type episode. A little Pokey and Gumby.
Stop
Gumby
motion.
starts beating up Pokey, right? Pokey goes, "Gumby, why are you beating me?" "Because there's an angel of the Lord standing in front of us." And then you have like a wisp of cotton standing there to represent the angel, and Gumby's like, "I don't see him," and Pokey's like, "He's right there." I mean, that's how hilarious this story actually is. And maybe Amy has a Pokey and a Gumby and a little wisp of cotton that she could actually make this claymation and stop motion out of. That's her next project.
Yeah.
I actually love stop motion. I could it takes a long time, but that's animation in general. You just gotta move the little figures very slowly. But that oh my goddess, I would love to see something like a donkey, a Jesus, any type of these type of story, the stories that they don't typically show, like this.
Yeah.
No.
Like Mark was saying, it's a female donkey. That's more information than we get a lot about a lot of characters that die. Like,
I mean, to be fair, the donkey had a speaking role, so if they were a member of SAG, they would actually get credits. right?
Yeah.
Like you could flip open to the back of the book and go, "Fuck, this talking donkey had lines. Gotta reference it now."
Well, technically, it wasn't the donkey talking, right? It was God talking through the donkey.
Well,
So is the
donkey's
a
kind of
prophet?
answering questions, though, right? I mean, the donkey's donkey. I mean, it's expressing its own feelings, like, "Have I not been good to you?" Like, So
Well, that's
the
true.
donkey was expressive. So for that reason, I'd give it guild credit.
So
But
do you
this is
think?
the stuff I want to see. This is what I actually want to see. Like, forget the Christmas carols and all this. I want to see, like, every Christmas, it's like the story of the ass. And I'm sorry, Mark,
Right.
what were you about to say?
No, well, I mean, it's basically God opened the ass's mouth, kind of thing. So He allowed the ass to talk. Is that what we're saying here? Is that?
That is.
Well, yes, we're talking about opening the ass.
Maybe it's like
Right.
a Venom thing going on. It's like it's a piece of
I
Venom. It's kind of
walked
God.
right into that one. I just walked straight into that one. Thank you, Pat.
You did.
That makes me incredibly happy.
It's easier if you open ass with two hands, but I'm sure God
Right.
would do it just
Oh
fine.
my!
Right.
Now we're giving real advice on this podcast.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
No, but I also want to mention something about, we were talking about Christmas trees earlier. I think that's kind of an important thing too, to understand that, when you study Greek, Roman, and other Mediterranean paganism, pre-Christian, particularly, from 700 BCE forward, these are all associated with fertility and solstice related rituals. This is the enshrinement of trees, as particularly evergreens, as a way to show growth and symbolize gods associated with growth and renewal. This is very common. I mean,
Right, but not a lot of evergreens in the near Mideast, right? I mean, it's not.
Well, there are evergreens. I mean, they're just not the variety that you're thinking of. And like, I live in the Pacific Northwest. No, there's no pines, but no, the Romans in Italy collected evergreens, and Greece did the same thing. Germans had a lot of different evergreens. I mean, ancient Germans, Germanic peoples, had a lot of evergreens to choose from. But there are plants that don't go dormant during the winter, even in North Africa and in the Levant. They're scraggly and maybe not as full, and sometimes they are. There's particularly ancient pines that grew in the Levant and in Syria that
But it's far more likely for the tradition to come from Germanic origins, because they have the large evergreens.
Well, the Germanic pagan origin is a later conflation when they start bringing in Christianity's German Christians at about the time of Charlemagne. So the Germanic tradition probably is much later than this earlier tradition that's probably regional in the Levant. And they're probably talking about people living in what is today Syria and Anatolia, now modern Turkey. This is probably the people that the ancient Israelites are referring to in these passages, possibly even Egypt, because there were some, plants used in ritual ceremonies in Egypt too. But honestly, when you start getting into Bronze Age religions and going further back, I'm not an expert in that area, and I'm going to pull a Dr. Joss and go, that's outside my expertise, so I'm going to defer on that until I'd have a chance to refer it. But I'm pretty familiar with the Greek and Roman from the Greek geometric period forward. So this was very common religious tradition, practices. Plants were used, carrying pond fronds. We'll just talk about that later. But these kind of things are very important in a lot of religious and a lot of ancient religions, as far as cultic activity in various communities throughout the Mediterranean. So the fact that the Israelites are saying, hey, don't make statues out of this and do this and that. I mean, you have to conflate a lot of passages too, by the way, but this is basically a reference to, agricultural rituals, right? Or rituals of fertility and renewal that are related to agricultural deities, or deities that have overlap between human fertility and nature fertility, right? The cycles were pretty common in antiquity. That's it.
I was going to say, I agree.
And I need a shave. I just realized that.
Mm-hmm.
Trim that beard. Mark's got his stuff all nice and tight. One day's growth is like the perfect man facial hair right now. Like you get a couple days, you keep it trimmed real tight, you're good. The minute you start getting like cactus bushy on the face, just not good.
I usually go clean shaven. Well, it's not so much that I don't like my beard. My wife hates me having a beard, so this is just me being lazy, really, rather than anything else.
So we need to
not
bring her in
intentional.
on this and get her opinion. Ask Mrs. Mark what the deal is with your having a beard. Because you're obviously slacking.
Mrs. Mark. Yes, that's exactly what I call her, Mrs. Mark. That's right.
Well, we'll call her Mrs. Mark because we don't want to use her real name, right? We're not going to throw her under the bus on YouTube.
Can I ask you guys, do you guys remember this story when you were Christians?
What do you mean?
I remember someone making fun of it.
I was never a Christian. I was a cradle atheist. Yeah. So my family was nominally Protestant, but like I did not get any, like I wasn't baptized, wasn't indoctrinated in any way. I had no idea about Christianity until I was 20 something, like no idea. So, yeah. So I never believed in this. The worst my mother did to me was probably a belief in astrology, like that's probably the worst. So I think I got off easy.
Pegasus would I think I just made up a random one. A Pegasus would totally say that, which is not an actual sign.
Yeah. Yeah, my star signs are Libra, so I don't believe in them.
So I'm gonna kind of cop out. When I was a little kid, I conflated this story and the talking donkey and the little drummer boy. You guys remember the claymation, the little drummer boy? I thought that was the donkey because the donkey, the Christmas talking donkey, is this donkey, and I just assumed it was the little drummer boy donkey. It's probably a better story, but in the little drummer boy, the donkey talks. And when you're like 5, 6, 7, and 8, it makes total fucking sense.
Right, that's a talking donkey. This has a story about a talking. It must be the same talking donkey. No, that's understandable. Right. That's totally understandable.
At that point, when you're 8 years old, well, actually, I shouldn't say 8. I found out there was no Santa around 8. But when you're like 5 and 6, the little drummer boy is like a documentary, right? You're going, this happened. This has got its own video. The little boy's got a drum, and he's going to play his heart out for Jesus, right? So this is awesome, right? And that's when you invite your Jewish side of the family over and they go, this is all bullshit, right? We're like, wait, don't ruin our Christmas. You guys already
I have no idea what you're talking about. I thought the little drummer boy was a song. What's... I don't...
It's an entire story, bro. It's like,
really?
It's about a kid going to worship the baby Jesus or pay homage through, and the only thing he can do is offer a song, and he's got like this little band of fucking followers, and one of them is talking donkey. Dude, you gotta watch it. It'll mess with your head. He's like, no, I don't.
I'm just thinking I probably need a few drinks before I
one of my least favorite Christmas songs.
Yeah.
It's the one that goes ba.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the song. It. Yeah, I'm aware of that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't do it, Newman.
Don't do it. Yeah. Okay, we'll get back to more rational topics. So about the talking donkey.
Talking donkey, yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't get it on any level. I don't get what is going on right now. Like, Moses isn't dead, but he got yeeted for a chapter or two. Aaron is dead, so they're like, all right, we need to fill that time slot. So they're like, we need to get someone else.
The main character.
And this guy's not even an Israelite, right? He's not even an Israelite, is he?
I think the Israelites have turned on God at this point. I'm a little confused. It seems
as far as I understand,
like those stupid Israelites, fucking chosen people, my butt.
Well, I mean, it seems like this guy's just upset that the Israelites are squatting, basically, and God's saying, "Hey, they're the chosen people. Don't screw with them."
They got a reservation. You didn't know about it.
Yeah. Which is really weird that some, not all of them, but some Christian people, especially the more sort of supremacist Christians that David Duke and that are sort of very, very anti-Jew, and it's just like, well, how can you possibly read through the Bible and go, the Jews are the bad guys here, and I'm Christian but I think Jews are bad people? It's like the text clearly says that they're the chosen people, right?
They were the chosen people. But from a certain Christian
okay.
worldview, they gave up their inheritance when they killed the Son of God, and the Jews
okay.
murdered Christ.
Oh, that
And
makes
for that
sense.
reason, they are to have the blood of Christ upon them and their future children and generations.
But it doesn't actually
Well,
say
that's not
that
a biblical
anywhere.
doctrine. Yeah.
It actually says that.
Oh, really?
It actually says that. Yes, when in the gospel accounts, when during Jesus's trial, they say, you know, his blood upon us and upon our children. When Pilate says, "But they're innocent," they say, "Then his blood is upon us." That's the projection in the gospel accounts of the trial of Jesus.
Geez, like this is the worst party ever.
It is
But-
like, oh, this sucks. And what's funny is you go through the gospel accounts, the Jews become more and more accountable, right, for the death of Jesus. Initially, it's kind of a Roman action.
Are you saying they
and then
become more and more like Mel Gibson the further you
more
read
and more anti-Semitic? Yes, because as what we know, it happens. You know, we got Mark. You know, Gospel of Mark between
But
65
that could be
and
interpreted
70.
in a number of different ways. You know, that really could, right?
Can it? Can it?
Well,
His blood be upon us. His death be upon us. You know, blood libel at the first century was very understood. If he is actually truly innocent, and we're ordering his murder, let his blood be upon us. Let the guilt of that act be upon us and our children. That's literally projection of cultural blaming. I mean, this is the generation of theology in the early Christian church that's anti-Judaizing Christian and anti-Jewish. This is where Christianity is starting to make an affirmative break from the Jewish roots of Christianity.
Yeah, but you can't hold an entire people accountable for the actions of what the leaders say, kind of thing. And who is us in this?
You really can. From a cultural and from an anthropological and cultural motif view, you definitely can. I mean, modern people would go, absolutely not. But in the first century of Palestine, oh, absolutely, you could. I don't. That's how it's projected.
Yeah.
And when we look at gospel accounts and we look at how, you know, like Matthew is typically seen as the Jewish understanding, like the story of Jesus as Messiah from a Jewish perspective. You still have to understand that within Christianity, there's different types of Christians, even in the first and into the second century, there are some Jewish converts to Christianity, but those are by the second century, those are fewer and far between. In the second century, most converts are Christians, and even in the late first century, most converts are Gentiles to Christianity. Sorry, I misspoke. But you have Gentiles converting to Christianity and doing a process called Judaizing, and that's becoming basically adopting Jewish custom and tradition, basically acting and living Jewish from a Gentile conversion. And that's the whole thing we talk about Paul and circumcision and all that stuff. And Paul's like, no, you don't have to do that, because the whole hard part of getting Gentiles to join was having men give up their foreskin. They're like, you know, I was going to be a Christian, but you're cutting my best friend.
Is that one of Paul's actual letters, the Timothy?
No, all the first and second Timothy are complete frauds.
Okay.
They're actually second century texts. Most scholars range all the pastorals between like 110 and 130, with like 120 being, you know, some people put them as late, a couple of the pastorals as late as 150. That scholarship seems a little weak to me. If you ask me if I'm teaching this, I do teach a class on this. I put the pastorals collectively between 120 and 130. I think that's pretty conservative, and it's pretty well based in the scholarship. So all the pastorals are second century texts, and they're anti-Judaizing. All you have to do is you just have to read one of them. And because it's the shortest, I typically take my students through Titus, and I say, okay, let's look at the passages. It actually talks about those of the circumcision. Those Christians adopting circumcision are antithetical to the church. Second century, we are now pushing against Jewish custom. Christianity by the second century has been hijacked. It's no longer a Jewish religion. It is largely Gentile, pushing against its Jewish origin. Accepting it, but then, you know, taking the parts that don't like it, and definitely resisting the cultural identifier. Yeah. This is a schism, and we see it early in the second century. But that's enough of history lessons, so let's go on.
See, the thing with us, we can't get enough history. We love it.
There'll be a short quiz. No, I'm just kidding. My students hate that. But yeah, I think it's really important to understand that when we talk about the pastorals, they're really problematic. Probably the three of the most damaging texts. Well, they're not, but they're highly damaging. Maybe not the most. I don't want to overemphasize them, but when we talk about the denigration of women within the church and the issues involving Judaizing Christians, those that convert, the Timothy, First and Second Timothy and Titus are by far one of those instruments that were used both during the second, third, and fourth century, and then beyond in the Middle Ages, that really were largely responsible for the church that we have today, because they're called the pastorals simply because they're about the management, maintenance, and how do we deal with those that speak out against us. Because even in Titus, First Timothy, Second Timothy, and Titus, they specifically talk about the silencing those that speak out against, quote unquote, the gospel. The gospel is no longer the good news. The gospel is the word of God as we tell you it is, and that's one thing too. The doctrinal changes between the first and second century. When Paul's talking about the gospel, he's just talking about the message of Jesus and the resurrection. In the second century, when people are forging letters in the name of Paul, the gospel is their version and their teachings. Well, there's no decrease in individualization. Right.
They never thought they would have to go through the whole trouble of setting up a formal church, and because, like you said, pointed out before, they thought they expected Jesus to come back sometime in the late first century, and that all this would be done with. Then all of a sudden that didn't happen, so they're all like, "Oh, what do we do?"
Paul's very clear in his original letters that he expects to see Jesus in his lifetime. Probably towards the end, he said, but he expected to see Jesus return. And both Paul and Jesus, if you believe the Gospels are accurate reflections of anything Jesus said, we can talk about that another. But even in the preserved sayings of Jesus, makes numerous statements that those that are currently alive and see him will see him after the resurrection. Like basically, they won't pass away. And Paul makes similar statements. They're both Paul and Jesus, as he's portrayed as within the narrative of the Gospels, are apocalyptic prophets. They both are apocalypticists who believe the apocalypse is coming, to that generation. Now, Jesus, whether or not you believe he knows he's going to die before he dies, blah, blah, because the Gospel accounts don't necessarily agree whether or not Jesus knows his fate or not. But, if we, generally harmonize those narratives, it's very easy to see that Jesus projects that the generation he's speaking to some of them will still be alive. And then Paul says the same thing. So they both believe that they're going to see, quote unquote, the resurrection and the second coming. So that's why Paul wasn't worried about a church. But sitting around at 120, Paul's been dead for 50, probably close to 60 years now. And you're scratching your head going, man, we got a church to manage.
What do we do now?
We got all these women. Yeah, we got women in charge of churches in places like Anatolia, in Syria. We got to shut these women up, particularly the new prophecy movement of Marcion, right? The Marcionites got to be silenced because they're basically having women in upper tiers. They're basically apostles, and they're saying
who's going to make the sandwiches,
modern revelation even in the second. Right? Who's going to make the sandwiches? And what happens is we see a shift when there's not an immediate apocalypse occurring. Christians take a pause. Gentiles are becoming more and more important as the body as a percentage of the church converting in, and many of them are Greek. And many of these Greeks go, well, if there's not going to be an immediate end to Roman rule and all this other stuff, then we need to settle in for the long haul. And that means being institutionalists and adapting religion to our normal culture of views. It's okay in Paul's church to let women be apostles and to be deacons, because Paul's church was temporary and going to be overrun. But now we're in for the long haul. So we want cultural norms that we're used to be reinforced by doctrine. And that's where you see the suppression of women in the Christian church.
You should write a book about that, Pat.
Yeah.
I might currently be writing a book on that.
Yeah.
And it's continued to this day. And the oppression continues.
Right. But at least there are sandwiches abundant, Mark.
Well, that's true.
What's important, and I just did a discussion group with some people at my institution. Many of them were academics, and I was asked, well, what do you think? Were women involved in the early Christian church? I said, absolutely, but all of those sects were stomped out. Like, there was a very vibrant female charismatic led communities in the second, third, and late first, throughout the second into the third century in the Mediterranean, particularly the Eastern Mediterranean. And women were dominant in many ways in many of these Christian communities, but then they were suppressed, and those communities were ultimately deemed heretical. And were they really teaching heretical things? We don't know, because many of the polemics against them were they're teaching false beliefs, and the women leading the church are whores. That's I'm paraphrasing from the original text, but that's basically the women are adulteresses. I mean, they're attacking the morality of these female church leaders,
right?
Yeah.
Because that's the polemic of their day. But they're not actually just explaining in some instances down to the doctrinal level what they're believing in. It's like they're teaching false teachings, and and the women are whores.
So what
so they gotta be
apologetic do you disagree with exactly, sir?
Yeah.
Well, if I had to put it exactly to one word, I'd say they're being whores.
They're whoring around.
Right. That's the apologetic.
They're a whoring around.
It's syllogism. Thank you.
Now, to be fair, Paul projects women being involved within a charismatic church. He talks about women prophesying in church. You just have to look at, Corinthians. I'm not saying Paul was perfect, okay? And as Paul projects in his letter, but Paul is presenting an apocalyptic and egalitarian church. Women and men lead by the gifts that they're given by God, right? That's Paul's answer to church leadership, is the people that have the gifts of leadership will be leader. Those that have the gifts of prophecy will be prophets. And that included women.
Right.
And, it's Paul's theology is pretty consistent. Paul was not as much a misogynist as other people wanted him later to become.
So they had to forge letters to make him sound more of a misogynist.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And weren't there a lot of...
They remember
There are a lot of sects later on that got stamped out. I'm thinking about things like the Cathars that were mostly female-led, and they sort of absolutely, I won't say genocide because it wasn't a race, but they absolutely annihilated that particular sect denomination. Yeah.
Well, the Waldensians and
right.
The Hussites.
There are a lot of sects, both early in the church, during the middle church, and the later church, that were deemed heretical from doctrinal points that ultimately proved to be false. There were many times in history, there were people holding the New Testament in their hand and pointing to now known and demonstrably fallacious books written in the name of Paul, pointing and saying, the Apostle Paul says this, and this is why we have to do this. And now scholars go, yeah, Paul didn't write any of that stuff. Like, if you actually take Paul's original books and create a theology, you actually get a different Christianity. And a lot of people just, when you actually explain, I'll give you all the Gospels. I actually think you should not use John, but that's just my textual criticism. But if you were to, take, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and I'll give you Acts just for fun, and then take Paul's original letters, you get an entirely different theology when you start throwing out the known fraudulent and falsely attributed books. Like,
so the real question is, can we keep the talking donkey? That's the real question here.
Yes, you keep the talking donkey because Christianity and Judaism is about credulity. It's all about credulity. And if you believe in a talking donkey, you'll believe in a talking snake, and a virgin birth. I mean, you got to have it all, bro. I mean, if you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound, right?
Yeah. And they bring in sacrifices because the Old Testament has been doing it for so long. They're like, look, we're just upgrading. You guys have been sacrificing. We're just going one step further. I didn't realize how much sacrificing was in the Torah. God is like, hey, goats, what's for dinner? Like, oh, okay.
Well, you think about John, right? When we start talking about Jesus as the sacrifice, that's John. John's probably, I mean, I know that when you look it up in a book, it'll say it's written between like 90 and 100. But it could be after 100. There's a lot of scholars say, yeah, it's probably 100, not as much 90. But that's when they talk about Jesus's theme is as the lamb, the Passover lamb, the lamb that this is a sacrificial system.
Analogies, a real sacrifice.
And it's amazing that there's no sacrifice narrative or allusions in Mark, which is prior to the destruction of the temple. After the destruction of the temple, all of a sudden, like, Jesus is the lamb that takes away the sin of the world. Well, isn't that funny? As Jewish traditional sacrifice, the sacrifice system is ended as a cultural norm. Now a messianic figure is given.
Oh, we don't have to do that anymore. Don't worry about all that.
Right. Don't worry. We got it fixed. And Jews that don't become Christian, they come up with a different system, right? And that's another episode entirely.
Oh
But
my!
in some cases, it involves chickens and this, but we won't talk about that.
Choking
It's
the
always
chicken.
good.
Choking that chicken.
Well, it's just like altars.
Yep.
If you have to cut chickens' heads, if you have to put blood at an altar, you may be a
No,
cult.
Newman,
I'm
spray the
just-
blood over there.
just-
You missed
I
a
know
spot.
Yeah, you missed. I know they hate the C word, but just saying, might be a little cold.
I actually, from an anthropological point of view, blood sacrifice is the most natural thing.
It's
you
all
think
over
about
the
it
world.
from the
Yeah.
it's a sacrificial system is. I mean, I would be concerned if you had a religion in the ancient Mediterranean that didn't have sacrifice. I'd be like, I want to study that one. I want to know why that religion didn't have sacrifice. Because, in many contexts, it was participation, part of it going and, being in a public gathering. I'm not talking Christian. I'll leave Christians and Jews out of this for a while. But, like, you're an ancient Roman pagan living in Rome, and there's a festival, and you participate in the festival, and there's a small sacrifice. You may actually participate in a little bit of eating you may receive a small morsel of food as part of the system, because the sacrifice, the altar, also included the ritual preparation of a meal that was commonly shared among the public. In many cases, rich people ate first, poor people ate maybe second if there was enough left over, but that was the thought, right? Right.
Mm.
And it was only the stuff that was unedible that actually went, quote unquote, to the gods. And so the system was kind of communal, right? We got rid of our sin, or our impurity, however you want. The system's all varied slightly. We get rid of the cultural impurity and personal impurity, and stain upon us, or miasma, and then we as a community come together, and we know we're all okay now, and we eat a small portion of this divine offering, our benefit, and so it's a communal bonding thing, and kind of I hate to say it, but it served an important function.
Ancient socialism.
I would call
and
it communalism, but
yeah, sure.
I would call it communalism.
Sure. It's communism. It has to be. They're sharing food. It's communism.
No, to be fair, ancient Christians were the first communists. That was their deal.
And I've made this analogy before because I said according to Jesus, remember the parable, the worker who started at first and the worker who started last all got the same pay. They all made the same.
Yep. Also, you look at the parable of the eye of the camel. Needle. You get through the camel get through the eye of a needle. You also look at the book of Acts. How in Acts the church promotes, and I don't call it communism. It's actually communalism. That's the actual appropriate term. Yeah. But giving everything you own to your fellow members so that you may all live in co-equality, that's what pissed off Romans. Many Romans were angry that their children converted to Christianity, and then their stored up wealth, which was an important Roman status symbol, was being given to all these fucking poor people. It's like, wait a minute. My son's joining this cult, and now he's selling all our shit and giving it away.
We busted our ass.
And Romans were worried, when I die, I don't want my son or my daughter giving away all our stuff. And Christians did it all the time. And many early Christians, if you want to call it avowed poverty or communalism, that was what they did. Christians gave everything, not all, but many gave all that they had, including all their wealth, to the church, so the church could manage it. And the church, the early Christian church, wasn't what you see today. They were about feeding and clothing the homeless. They were entirely about the destitute, because remember, many people in the early Christian church were the destitute and poor. A lot of polemics against Christians were, smart, educated Romans and Greeks going, the only people dumb enough to join the Christian church or to become a Christian are women, slaves, and children who have a feeble mind. That was, they said, look, but they at the same time said Christians give to their people. Like, they lure them in with food, then they teach them a message. But again, this was the detractors of Christianity. So they're just as biased in their views. But between those two narratives, between what Christians wrote about themselves and what their detractors wrote, we can find a narrative. And it looks like many Christian communities were known for the quality of care they gave to their fellow members, who were in many cases destitute and poor. The whole again, I'm getting off on a tangent, but Saint Nicholas of Smyrna, right? Smyrna, if you want to say it that way. The whole thing was Saint Nicholas sold everything he had and gave it to poor people and bought children's shoes. That's what he did, according to his church history. It wasn't that he was giving presents.
I'm going to interrupt. I'm okay with all of that. I still think that a sacrifice is terrible. It makes no sense. I understand why they did it back then. Like, I understand the logic of...
If you pray before you eat your KFC, is that a sacrifice? And it's a chicken, Amy.
Before you eat your KFC. I don't know. What are you praying for?
If you dedicate your KFC to a god.
What are you praying? Like, are you actually being like, I am going to eat this KFC and therefore I will get something?
Sure.
Well, sure. Because you've killed the chicken and you're like, I'm going to eat this and then it'll rain.
Thank you, God, for this chicken. I'm going to give a portion of this chicken to you because you're so awesome.
And I think that's silly logic. I think that is flawed.
I agree. I
guess it's ancient, but it's almost like ancient
thought. It was common back then.
Yeah, and it's kind of the way I see it is like you've got a confirmation bias happening. So if you're constantly killing animals and hoping stuff happens, when it does happen, you're like, wow, look, it works. It obviously works because you dedicated your KFC to get a new new sound system, and then if you do that all the time and then you buy a new sound system, you're like,
hey,
it worked.
You could say, hey, I'll dedicate it, and when the sun comes up tomorrow, and when it happens, hey, it worked.
And a major part of this was it was community based. So if we all sacrifice together and participate in this system and everything works out, then obviously it was for good. And if it doesn't work out, it wasn't me, it was you, Mark, because you're an atheist. Yes. I know secretly you don't believe in Jupiter the way I believe in Jupiter, and you're one of those guys, you talk shit. So we need to Mark is the reason. Right, exactly.
Right,
and you're the reason the empire's collapsing, right?
Yeah.
You and those damn Christians.
Well, I see it the same thing as like people that think that God finds their car keys. It's just every time they lose their car keys, they pray for their car keys, and eventually they think, "Hey, one causes the other to happen." It's confirmation bias.
Well, to be fair, it is the people praying for car keys that keeps God busy, because on God's wall there's a bunch of yellow posties, and there's like a gazillion fucking car key questions, and like 10 million children dying of cancer, and God just keeps putting them up there, and it's always the car keys that get pulled off first.
Yeah,
children with cancer, fucking zero, right? Yeah. It's like, oh man, another car key, gotta fucking answer that one, and then kid with cancer dies. And what happens if you don't find your fucking car keys?
In God's defense, the car keys are easy to do, while kids' cancer, it's really hard. You might as well get really the really easy stuff.
Not for God, though. Exactly.
Well, certainly it's harder for God than finding someone's car keys. I mean, certainly one is easier than the other.
I do think God. I think it's because God doesn't like children. I think God's pro-car, anti-children.
Well, he wants you to get your car. Sacrifice a couple at one point, so.
Yeah. You never hear about God sacrificing a car.
Yeah, Isaac nearly found out how much he didn't like children, right? Poor Isaac.
Newman.
Yep. And I will say, guys, we're going to be going for about 15 more minutes. So if you...
any Christians want to come on and defend God?
You have 4 non-believers. You have 4 heathens that you can convert right now by just proving that I guess there is either empirical evidence. I like to know the wisdom. I actually want to know where the metaphorical wisdom is tonight. I normally give the metaphorical wisdom over because I listened to Dr. Josh and we have the wonderful Atheist Handbook to the Old Testament, Volume 1, and he talks a lot about you shouldn't judge them at the time, because they didn't have the same type of science, and we get all of our science from the shoulders of giants that we have on today. And so I'm not trying
doesn't mean they're all idiots or that they...
And I do want to put an asterisk, because I think basically everything Pat was saying earlier. Christians really believe what they were saying. They're probably doing good. There was different sects. Also, that's what he or she said. It's just that it has been after 1,000, 2,000. How many thousands of years do we have to give them to come to the realization that it isn't literal? And so a lot of times the metaphorical Christians will look at us and they'll say, well, you're just sitting here and you're reading the Bible and you're just picking it apart. And when you do that, you miss all of the context. But there's some stuff that I really want to know what the context is. Normally, it's God killing people. Tonight, it's an ass that literally talked. It was a three-way between a man, an ass, and an angel. And I can't make this
the ass
shit
got
up.
the best of all of them.
That would be an amazing sitcom,
and
though.
she
That would be
won.
that would
We
be
had
an
it already. It's
amazing
called-
sitcom.
We already
a
had
man
it.
and
It's
an
called
ass
Mr.
and an
Ed the
angel.
Talking Horse.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Ed was pretty close.
That's right.
Wilbur.
But you know what? I mean, development over humanity's development has been a struggle, and it's been a slow climb, and we've had to discard old ideas slowly and sometimes very painfully. And sort of this clinging on to these old superstitions. And I understand why people do, and why tradition is very comfortable for people, and that kind of thing. But yeah, some of this stuff, it's so painful to leave behind. But as in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I think we do have to leave behind the sort of stories that made sense at the time, but they're no longer useful. Like a lot of things that humanity has are no longer useful, and we have to look to how we implement things into the future and use what's useful for us, and drop the bullshit. Basically, the things that we know we now know are no longer true, and that's just my personal opinion, though.
And if I may piggyback
I agree.
off
Still helps
of what you said, we need to emulate the community aspect, because that is the actual thing that religion is able to do well. Is that they are able to build communities, because it's just everyone saying we come together on this one thing. But I believe, you're looking at me like that. I believe the non-believers can do it better.
They start killing each other.
Well, they schism, as in the moment that you disagree with someone.
As important as far as the sense of community is within a religious system, it's also the enforcement of social norms, Amy. That's what makes me wary of the. Well, so religion's about enforcement of social norms. That's just what it does, right? So if we as atheists start emulating Christian communities for the sense of camaraderie and fellowship, I'm nervous that we're going to gravitate towards the other side, which is an enforcement of norms within that community as well. That we may not all necessarily agree as secular humanists. I know what I believe as a secular humanist.
I guess I look at more maybe I'm just such an optimist. I look at more like the drawing people together because you feel like there's no one else like you.
Right. If you want to make it a meetup, and you guys are going to go for coffee and a movie, perfect. But if you're going to start saying we're going to meet every Thursday, and we're going to, whatever we're going to do, some call to community action, and we're going to, at some point, I'm worried
we're so
that cliques
diverse.
will develop,
Sure.
We are diverse.
And then we would branch up into different denominations because we agree on basically one thing. We have a lot of other things that individuals of us agree on, but we don't have any dogma, or there's a
perfect example doctrine. Is James and I don't agree on politics.
Yeah.
We have some views that are similar, but I'd say ultimately we're at other ends of the political spectrum. And for that reason, I'm concerned that if we start saying we have this one issue that defines us, our God view, and many of us are secular humanists, okay, but what about those of us that are atheists that aren't secular humanists, or those that are liberal versus conservative? Then we're going to start getting into denominations, and that's problematic, in my opinion.
Plus, I agree that could happen. I have found so far that the non-believer community has been fairly strong, fairly open-minded, even though they have been politically diverse, and I don't think that's going to change.
But I think
I don't.
minorities. Sorry.
Oh no, it's so. What you're both saying is you fear authoritarianism. That basically, what is it? You fear the same thing that the theocracies are trying to offer us is like
Maybe it's part of its human
because
nature.
I wouldn't want like government enforced non-religion. I think that's a big mistake. In fact, sometimes I think it's almost
Oh,
an advantage
definitely.
to religion because it
Agreed.
gives this like, ooh, what are they hiding from us? When
Right.
really it should be they just put the silliness out in front.
Show us your evidence. Yeah.
It's both. I agree with you guys because I don't think that it's not about us making it Sunday and we all need to meet on Sunday. And so we just need to overtake Christianity. But I also think for a lot of people, when you leave a religious community, uh, a weird community that I feel very proud of, that it's hard for me to even be a member of because so many people tell me I'm not an X. But the X community, I'm an ex-Jew. I find a lot of ex-Muslims. I find a lot of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. A lot of the tight-knit X communities come together on this one thing, even though it has really nothing to do with anything political or what side you're on in a weird way. And I'll end on one more thing on this note. The joke I make is just show me an atheist versus atheist takedown video. It happens. It actually does happen. But let me tell you, it is just so rare because when you
Right.
just disagree with someone, it's just as disagreement. When your God disagrees with someone, that's serious
Yeah.
business.
Because we're not claiming absolute authority from God that our views are perfect and unchangeable because they're God's views. We're just talking out of our own asses.
But I think that one of the things I would have to factor in is that minorities have a tendency to stick together a lot more than the majority does because they have a certain strength in sort of a
True.
solidarity. I think that is a factor, and I would agree that even atheists and other secular people, they've just got a tendency to schism just as much as religious people do. I mean, we've seen some of the big, like non sequitur show schisms and, people launching into two totally different paths. But at the same time, I don't think that secular or atheism is any worse than religion either. Do you know what I mean? Like
No.
I think it.
I agree with you.
I don't think there's.
I just want to avoid the pitfall. So, like, people ask me, so what do we do? And again, I'm just nobody. I'm just Amy's friend on YouTube, and James's friend and Mark's friend. But I think, join your local secular humanist group. Join the groups that project your values, goals, and desires as you want to, the groups you want to be associated with.
There's no right or wrong way to be an atheist.
Join a book club, right? I mean, there's no right or wrong way to be an atheist, and James is absolutely right. So, but I can tell you, join a book club, join your local. If you're active politically, join your local political group. Become active that way, and you'll find a sense of community really fast. And you'll find that you're often many people are going to be secular humanist atheists. Many people are going to be secular humanists that are religious, and but those will be easier groups to identify with. Let the Christians, the Muslims, the Jews do their religious worships on those days they want to set aside to do them, and then as atheists, let's just be members of our community that don't try to emulate that, because by emulating it, we're saying it's important to us culturally, and I really don't think it needs to be. We have so many other avenues to express our worldview, right? That's just my thought. And I might not be right. I mean, I've had some very intelligent people, push back. But I just resist it because I'm worried that as this community of atheists grows, we're going to meet on Thursdays, that someone's going to want to be in charge. That's how the church got started. Paul died, and some Christian was going, I want to be in charge. And then they fought for the next 1800
Yeah, but it
years,
depends where
1900
their
years.
authority comes from. I mean, and I agree with what Amy says. When you've got a God, your authority comes from that
Right.
God, right? And then you may not have the best person for it. And whereas a secular group may, I'm saying may, I'm not saying it's a certainty, but they may choose the person who is best for the community.
We would
and
hope.
It depends on. You would hope, and it would depend on how you structure it. And there's so many different variables in that, but at least it does not have the I've been chosen by God to be in this position.
Correct.
Because it's impossible. And when
And
you say
actually,
there's no wrong way to be an atheist, there is a wrong way to be an atheist. It's being an atheist by worshiping a God. That's the wrong way.
Right.
God-given atheist, you're doing it wrong. Okay.
Before you guys
So,
hold, I'm just going to say, because someone may disagree with us, just send in a shout out. Concerned citizen, always welcome on. I know a lot of channels are like, you got to come on now that we do the shout out. If you're just watching and you're in sweats and you're like, bitch, don't make me come on here. That's cool too.
Come on,
but
another
hey, we always want theists. We actually kind of
it's like a drug
to the views.
It's like a drug
disagree
to us.
with ours.
Yeah,
exactly. As much as we love all of our heathen fan club here.
I would love to know what that comment was in relation to. What was that in relation to?
I would too.
I'd love to know that. Yeah. But that's okay. But, we would love people to come on who do disagree with us, who do break the echo chamber. And, if you do come on, I promise I'll be on my best behavior and,
Amy won't bite.
Really listen
Unless
to you.
you're into that.
Well.
Yeah. So, there's an old joke about going to parties. You can go to a party and talk politics, and you're probably going to get in a shouting match with someone. You can go to a party and talk sports, and you're probably going to end up in a fist fight. If you go to a party and you talk religion, one of you is probably going to end up getting stoned, and you decide which stone that is. But that's like Mark's point, that only religion gives the certitude of your opinion is being divinely mandated. When you talk politics, you have to admit, I could be wrong. You talk sports, if you're like me, opinion, and you have to admit, my team loses. So but when you talk about a God claim, that certitude can be empowering to the point of abject, just being able to get rid of your connection to another person because they're on the other side of your opinion. And you think about it, it's problematic. And I'm not saying people can't kill each other in politics, because we see them do it all the time. But the reality is the amount of nationalism and, it takes a lot to get people in a society to start murdering other people.
The other danger of religion is that, and I'm sorry, did you actually get your point out, Pat?
I'm done.
Okay. The other danger, I have seen people's views radically change after converting. Like, I've seen people that were very super liberal. I don't want to take positions because I like conservatives. I don't want to take anything. But I've seen people take positions that basically what they are saying is, I don't believe this, but the book says it, and now I have to conform my views to what this is. And some people try and gymnastics that the best that they can, but it's painful. It's can break up families.
I remember wrangling myself with that when I was still a Christian, trying to wrangle with the the homosexuality thing. Like God says it's wrong, but I really don't see why it's wrong. Just trying to square that circle, and just give up the God, and then it all makes sense.
Yeah, just give up the baggage.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's, you got to give Christians that have moved towards a very inclusive worldview on that, if you want to call them progressive Christianity or whatever, you got to give them their credit. Right. You got to give them their credit.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, and
You have to say,
I've
look,
known plenty of Christians that are very inclusive of the gay
Yeah.
community and very supportive.
Sure.
And, you know, I think that their book disagrees with them, but, you know,
Yeah.
kudos for them for
Cognitive
sort of-
dissonance works sometimes.
Well, I mean, you can make an argument that the Old Testament is no longer valid, you know, and I think it's a pretty strong argument. So, you know, that's what they believe, and good on them. I don't. If you want to keep beliefs, sure, as long as it's harming nobody, sure. I don't have a problem with it.
It is moving in a more benign direction. It is a better, you know, a better.
Well, I think it's got no choice as the culture changes, and you know, if one thing I can
religion
say
has
about,
to evolve.
yeah, and Christianity is a survivor of many centuries of culture change. So, you know, it
Right.
will change, and it will change even further as the culture changes still, because we never seem to sit still as far as sort of cultural understanding. We're always
It took
moving.
thousands of years. It took a while, but we potty trained them, declawed them, whatever language you want to use. You're saying
I sense some doubt from Pat here. I
Pat.
sense some real doubt. Yeah.
Well, because they will tell. I find Christians that'll be like, look, go talk to the Muslims who are throwing gays off buildings, and I go,
Right.
okay, but you're basically saying, look, we don't do that anymore. Give me my pat on my head, and it's like, yes, thank you. You no longer do that anymore. Now, let me give.
Thank you
the
for not
olive
killing me.
branches. Yeah, the olive branches that you guys were talking about, I 100% agree with. You know, I have a good view in two different views. If you're a literalist, I give you balls for actually believing it. Like for actually going and saying, look, it says it's
You'll
6
defend it?
days, 6,000. Usher did the chronology. That's what I'm going to believe. But if you actually become the cafeteria Christian, I love you probably more because I know on an intellectual level that you're like, I like this and ooh, that we'll just ignore the little pudding over there. But I like them because they end up being, I hate to say, decent, moral, upstanding human beings in society who are nice to their fellow citizens. So I want more of those Christians. They are the allies, the science defenders. And so keep on separating whatever boxes are going on in your head because we need more of you and less of the ball chutzpahs that are telling me that it's 6 days to make a star.
It is kind of a double-edged sword, though, because it is perpetuating it and it's keeping the mythos alive. And, you know, like the thing is, even though you may be like a super liberal, super okay Christian, you know, you could have your kids might not necessarily emulate you in that direction. We can have revivals and we can have more sex take a more fundamentalist turn, and that happens. So it is good that they're being nicer people, but in a way it you know is keeping it alive longer.
Yeah. Well, I think I've told you guys this before. I don't think even as an atheist, in my wildest dream, we ever see an end to religion. We may see changes and transitions and evolution of religion, but I don't think we'll ever get rid of religion. I think religion is a facet of society that's ingrained in our genetic and psychological and sociological makeup. I don't think we ever get rid of it. We may see it change. It may, with the end of ultimately 3,000 years from now, there may be a complete end to the Abrahamic tradition, and there'll be anthropologists 3,000 years from now will be talking about the crazy shit we talked about on YouTube. But it'll be some new cultural movement that
Do you think there'll be an end of theism, though?
No.
Well, see, I agree with you in a way, Pat. I don't think you can get away. I think I forget which skeptic called it gree-grees, called false positive superstition. I don't think you can ever get rid of them fully. But do you think we can reduce it to the point where it's culturally like a Bigfoot,
Right.
like a
right
insignificant?
It'll be
astrology?
right. It'll be it'll be okay. So this is kind of where, again, this is just, I'm being hypothetical. This is not my area of expertise or specialization, but I will tell you that, like, as cultures
True
move,
professor
right,
right
and
there when they say
transition,
that.
we see them adjust within societal norms. So I don't have any idea what society is going to look at in 200 years, let alone 1,000 years from now or 2,000 years from now. But what I think would be illustrative and a possible framework for this would be, whatever the cultural norm is of that period, there will be some framework that is either loosely deist or loosely theist, that has an ancillary body of supernatural causation outside whatever science and technology at that time has talked about. It may just be a loose concept of the soul in the afterlife, and they've gotten rid of Jesus. It may just be some, again, I don't want to use this, and I will, because I think it's actually really good. It may be Logan's Run, where everybody gets on the carousel at age 33 or 30 or whatever it was, and they get shot by a laser because there's overpopulation. Right? We don't know, but there may be some a new societal norm that allows for some belief system, and it'll be ultimately some type of socially normative and social control mechanism that deals with some social and cultural pressure that we as a species are experiencing at the time. I predict it'll be very spiritual but non-intrusive. It'll be very much like, again, I'm not making fun of these people, but I guess it will come off that way. When I talk to people who believe in energy and crystal magic, it's a real thing, people I've talked to, they're probably the least offensive people. They believe in a lot of woo, but they believe in non-interference in anything in general. Yeah. Their belief system is all about them and being positive. Their whole job in life is to be positive and upbeat. Right? I can't find a whole lot wrong with that. They don't really believe in too much proselytization. They tell you how if you live in this positive energy world and have positive energy things around you, and certain crystals are prone to help you channel and create this positive world, right? Okay, if you don't believe the woo, you can still generally be friends with these people, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not right. So that's, I think, where we're going to actually head as a society eventually. Yeah. A very non-invasive, very non-socially normative, but the social normative will be, you allow people to have these beliefs, and atheists at some point will stop attacking them. I really think there'll be a point where the cultural motif of credulity will be accepted because it's within a very narrow framework. It'll be like, they're good on everything else except this.
Before you respond, Mark, I just want to send out to the internet sphere, we got about 5 more minutes, and then we are going to be moving into outros.
Yeah.
So now is your time. If you are a theist, if you're an atheist who just thinks that this Bible passage has wisdom, now is your time to tell us where we have all went wrong before we move into the outros and into Discord. But all right, Mark, you were about to say something?
Yeah, or if you just like that ass, come on. So I don't know. I agree with you that we're going to always have I think somebody described it as a God-shaped hole in our psyche kind of thing. And it's just my opinion, or what I hope happens. And I just have to point out with that description that you gave is spirituality and not theism. There's not usually, with those upbeat people, many gods involved. Rather, it's spiritual and energy and kind of thing.
A lot of them,
you could extend.
Many of them are deists, though, but
or pantheists, right. Sure. Right. Yes, but what I would hope for, because again, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I would hope that the classical God definitions and people that believe in them would occupy the same space as, say, Bigfoot or aliens or any of these really sort of minority beliefs where people have, it's not considered just...
I think the Abrahamic religions will ultimately be in that venue. I think ultimately, though, what will happen is we'll get to a society keeps advancing, and if we look at Christianity as the framework, right, how Christianity is kind of transition, and even just look at religion in America the last couple hundred years. Again, not my area of expertise or focus. I look at ancient peoples, but there are some decent modern comparisons. And we look at New Age religion. For there's these trends that are becoming more societally and social normative, right? That we see then Christians start emulating this. Like, 50 years ago, if we were using terms like progressive Christianity, progressive Christians would have been heretics.
Yeah.
100 years ago, they couldn't even call themselves Christian. You're a Christian, you believe it's okay for gay people to get married, you support gay marriage, antithetical to the Christian normative view at the time.
Right.
In 100 years, things have shifted. Yeah. Right. So, and now those groups may not be mainstream in Christianity, but they're no longer heretical. Right. And so as these lanes shift and these norms become more inclusive in Christian society, this is where Christianity's chasing society and not society chasing Christianity. Just the same thing that happened in the early Christian church when Greeks started putting back their culture into the Christian church because they wanted it to be normalized back into what their societal norm was. Christians now are living in a society that's multicultural and more accepting and open to things that their religion's not. So they either dig their heels in and become conservatively socially, right? Or they transition to where their church is a better representation of the culture they live in. And that's the normal process we see. We see resistance and then acquiescence. Resistance, then acquiescence. And that's kind of, the ancient Romans talked about like, man, we should never have let that bacchanalia, that cult, come into Rome because they're fucking crazy and we got to ban them, right? There were religious pagan persecutions too, right? Romans were like, the women they're getting drunk, they're doing crazy stuff. The cult of Cybele is off the rails. We can't have men castrating themselves as part of the religious tradition, right? There were conservatives even in antiquity talking about the new religion, right? Or foreign religions, right? And we see that in modernity in many ways. We see religions adopting some of their social practices, some of their theology is transitioning to be socially normative of the representation of the larger society. And that's what Amy's talking about, quote unquote, progressive Christians. That's why in many ways I can sit down with a lot of these type of Christians and I'm just an atheist and they're like, that's cool. You don't have to believe in God. I believe in God. And, at the same time, we're doing fundraising for LGBTQ rights, right? So it's sure, we're on the same fucking page. I have no problem with you. Now, there are certain things that, from a theological point of view, that if you're a Christian, you and I are probably never going to see eye to eye, even if you're a very progressive Christian. For example, abortion. I believe in open and largely unfettered access. That's just my view. But if you actually look at the theology, it's hard for a Christian to get it. They may say that's your choice, but at a theological level, they have a real problem with it, going back to the very foundation of the church, going back to the traditions that it's founded in. It's one of the founding principles of Christianity that set it apart from the pagans around them was the prescription against abortion. So if you go, yeah, you're kind of off base, buddy. It'd be really hard for a Christian from a theological point of view to defend access to abortion from a personal. That's why people like Joe Biden.
They do it.
He's a good Catholic. They do it, right? But they're getting so doctrinally down the road now. I think they're actually not Christian anymore. That's my own personal view. I think at a certain point you can call yourself a Buddhist, but if you don't know anything about the divine Buddha or the non-divine Buddha, are you really a Buddhist? Have you ever read a book on Buddhism? Nope, I'm a Buddhist. Well, maybe you're not a Buddhist. If you don't know anything about Buddhism, and you don't have to know a lot, you have to just know enough to be able to say you're a Buddhist. But if you start I believe in Jesus and I believe in the afterlife, but I don't believe in all this other stuff. Are you really a Christian, or are you just a deist with a cultural motif and a label that's culturally acceptable in your group? I know Christians that call themselves Christians. I'm like, tell me what you know about Christianity. They go, well, I know about Jesus. I know he was born and he died for everybody's sins, and everybody, because they're universalists, get to go to an afterlife. I'm like, well, what about Buddhists? Well, I believe they have a path too. So you just believe you have a theism or deism where everybody gets to go to heaven, and you believe it's within a cultural motif. Are you really a Christian? Or are you just a universalist who say, I grew up in a Christian culture, so I call myself a Christian? At that point, you're just a deist who has some cultural baggage that you ascribe to, rather than actual conviction of belief. And that's where I think some people identify as Christian, but when you actually drill down to it, they're just deists. and
I
they're
just
more
wish they would
universalist in their
defend
view.
Christianity. They always defend deism. It's hard, unless you're
Right,
Ken
but-
Hovind or all these guys. They don't defend Christianity. They defend the Kalam cosmological argument. Yeah.
That's we've talked about it. That's the stronger argument.
I think there will always
Deism,
be gaps in human knowledge, and I think that at some level people will always there'll always be some gap somewhere where you could hide a god in, and will always be irrational thoughts and such like that. But maybe I'm just being overly optimistic, but I do think we will get to a point where religion will be such a small minority that it'll basically almost be, you might have people
Taken
I know
again.
superstition.
Yeah.
Should they be institutionalized? At what point do you make that step and say that they should be kept in padded rooms? I don't know if you ever go there, but
Look, I will talk about what I hope for, but not what will happen.
Yeah.
We have no idea. Like the AI revolution could occur, and humanity might be wiped out altogether by our AI overlords. We just have no idea. So that's why I generally will talk about what I hope for rather than what will actually happen. It's just
Mark.
It's impossible.
That won't happen because I watched a documentary where one of these AI intelligence come back in time and saves the leader of the future resistance.
Oh,
so I just want you to know, like it was a documentary.
Yeah.
So the machines don't win, we win. So humanity's saved, yay.
And on that note, we are going to bring in the mimes.
But I saw a documentary where the AI imprisoned everybody and used them for power. So we're not actually here; we're actually in the pods providing power to the AI. So
you know what, Mark?
That documentary disagrees with yours. Yeah.
Well, I saw.
No. We have a sectarian schism. I am a Terminatorist, and the fact
I'm a Matrixist.
Oh yeah.
You're a Matrixist. We have competing worldviews.
Where's Bob Larson when we need him?
We call ourselves dominatrixes.
Sweet.
Nice.
Bring them mimes in.
We call ourselves Terminators.
Look, Pat and I will continue forever with this bit. You really got to do something.
I saw a documentary where they were all sex robots. And on that note, you're going into
Were you in that documentary, Amy? Were you in that fucking documentary?
I bet
I was training them. Close. I've done it twice. We are outroing. Let's try that one more time, ladies and gentlemen. Who is the producer? Fire. Oh, never mind. Pat,
send in the tranny.
That's right, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. We have been having a highly sophisticated conversation. I will have no one else say otherwise. I hope you had a fun time on this Skeptic Bible Study. Balaam's ass. Balaam's ass. Where can people
thanks for having me. Okay. You can find me at Discovering Ancient History. I have a WordPress account under that name for my blog. I've got to get some new articles up. I have some stuff ready to go. I just have to proof them. I also have videos coming out on my YouTube channel. I got one ready to go. It'll launch the next day or so. I just had one recently put up. I just want to tell you guys, this is fun. I had one come out yesterday, the day before.
Okay.
I'm doing one currently on the Arthur Stone in Wales, so that'll be up. And the only reason I'm kind of going out of Cornwall for a little bit is there was some really good work done there that I was out there on, and it got some notoriety in Smithsonian Mag, so I figured since it's relative in the archaeological community, I'll get my video out now referencing the article. And then I just want to say thanks for having me on, and it's, as always, it's a blast to come on with Mark, and I think it's awesome that you don't always agree. And I do want to say, if you're a theist or a deist or someone who wants to come in and talk about this stuff, please do. Mark's always going to be his best behavior. Me, maybe not so much, but I'll try. I'm also, myself and Jason Torn, who has his own channel. I think it's called
Science Ultimatum.
With Jason Torns, or the Science.
Yeah.
Right, the
Science Ultimatum.
Jason Torn. Amy's willing and James are willing to host a a debate on this channel on either young Earth creationism and or the worldwide flood from a scientific perspective. So if you're willing to do that, we're more than willing to have you on. Having a climatologist and a archaeologist come on would be, if you want to defend either of those, and maybe you don't want to defend it, but want to talk about how Christians now interpret it in a scientific worldview, that'd be great too. We can have a talk discussion about that. So thanks for having me on, and you guys take care.
Pat. Muted Amy.
I was just gotta.
She was just testing us.
That's how you keep the zombies away. That's right. And I want to do a shout out, piggyback on what Pat just said. We are looking for two theists, surprisingly hard, on the YouTube debate community that want to talk about the flood. A lot of the theists that show up on this channel tend to be the more metaphorically science-inclined theists that we were just sending so much love and praise to. And speaking of praise, we would like some theists that would come on here to defend the flood. I'm looking around for them, but it's so funny how far they seem to swim away 40 days and 40 nights when the call
They've got other things to do.
We have two strapping young gentlemen, Pat Lowinger and Jason Torn. Come on. You got to get them on, and it's going to be a debate me, brah. They are ready for it, and we are ready to let you come on here. And I think James and I both agree, we pride ourselves on not being an echo chamber. We have limits. Don't push our TOS buttons. But besides that, I mean, come on here, be reasonable. We'll let you say what you have to say, and we'll even let you shout out your channel.
Let Angelo plug his or your website.
Exactly.
Even if it's just your own article citing yourself as your own source.
Give him time.
Whatever works.
I gave Neff time when he was on here for like 30 seconds or whatever the hell he was.
Even gave John Maddox time.
But they don't come back. They don't come back. I think it's because we give them time. If we were to ban them or mute them, that's when they start crying. But okay, enough QQ shilling from me, but my email in the YouTubes or in this chat, and we're headed over. Thank you so much, Pat. To Mark Reed. We have been Skeptic Bible Studying on Balaam's ass, and I'm only half making that joke. The Bible just does it for me. Where do people find you? What do you find?
You can find me here. I'm around. I'm hanging around. I just generally do occasional debates and put in my 2 cents on Amy's channel. So come back and I'll be here. I'd love to have some theists on as well. I think I'm not sure. I think I'd be happy to hear somebody out if they had to make a case for the Bible or whatever. I miss Jason. I'm not sure. He hasn't been on for quite some time. But I do miss talking to Jason. And it's wonderful to talk to Pat again. Pat's always a wealth of knowledge, and I always love talking to Pat. And thank you, Amy and James, for having me on. I really enjoyed it. And thank you very much for watching and listening to me rant. I had a blast, as always. And thank you so very much.
Thank you so very much, Mark. Awesome having you on, as always. And all right, we're moving right down the line, which means, James, I'm giving the co-pilot the keys. They're all yours. And
you're muted, Newman.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. I'm easy to troll, but I'm sending love. That's Newman. Funny. Just want to say I'm a mimus. That's right, definitely a mimus. But
are
James,
you a super straight mimus?
The super straight mimes. I don't know. Did you?
How straight are you, Amy?
I would have to say, on a scale from 1 to 10, I am definitely probably a 69. Just do the math. It'll be okay.
In terms of straightness, that's almost as straight as
Transcendent.
Ken Hovind, almost as straight as Ken Hovind. Not quite that
I was going to
straight.
say, that's about as straight as Ken Hovind's about to find out. I hope he enjoys trading cigarettes so that he doesn't become a girlfriend. Good luck, Ken.
Maybe he'll enjoy himself down there. But thanks, guys, for helping us get through this wonderful, wonderful chapter in the Book of Numbers today. It was a doozy, but we made it. We got out in one piece. The talking donkey. We made it. Yeah, I think we're just at this point just going to limp away and recover our mental sanity from that. But don't worry, guys. As you know, we will be back shortly. Probably back later in the week with Pat for a Talk Me Skeptic. And as Amy mentioned before, we are also going to be visiting, once again, one of our favorite Christian pastors, Bob Larson, because he deserves it. He deserves to take a trip back to Amy's hot seat. And so we're going to put him there.
At the girl dick level.
Of course. That's go big or go home, Amy. Come on.
That's right. Thank you so very much, James. And I have to say, of all the Bible studies we've been doing, I really wanted Theus to show up and defend this one. Okay? Like, come on.
You surprised they did
I don't normally talk after this, but we ended up talking donkey today. I definitely did not have this passage in Hebrew school. Lordy, lordy, they're lordy. Anyway, I hope you all had a fun time on this episode of Skeptic Bible Study, Balaam's Ass. Where in this episode, we met Balaam, who is told by God not to curse the Israelites, to follow some merry men. I think I saw that movie. And a good old-fashioned conversation with a donkey. Shrek 2. Oh, really? I want to thank my co-host, James W.
We made it.
With our guests, Mark Reed and Pat Lowinger. Woo! Along with our awesome mods who make this stream so great, the lovely people in chat, and viewers like you. If you enjoyed the show, feel free to like, follow, or subscribe. And then hit that bell icon so you can be part of our live streams. If you'd like to come join us, we'll be heading to the Discord afterwards to chat with the community, the link of which is in the description below. Finally, if you'd like to help us make even more fun content, we offer unique perks for your support at Patreon. That's right. At patreon.com/Amy Newman. I am Amy Newman. And we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.
Rachel Holland.